his own billiard room.
Yes, it's what do you call it, Kramer?
The billiard room.
No. The name. The billiard? Not the billiards. It was... Come on, Rudy, come on. We call it the
place to be.
The place to be, yes. It's the place to be.
Then I shall be there.
Now, it's time. Live and in living color. The Grandy Man can.
Time to play the game! Well, you always left me satisfied and smiling, so...
That's what she said.
Why do I want this?
Yeah.
Because I want to make bank, bro. I want to get ass. I want to drive a Range Rover.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is now time for the Place to Be Podcast. And now your hosts, Justin Rosero and Scott Criscolo.
Yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow. I put it down from the whips and my diamonds. I've been black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow. Black stripe.
Place to Be Nation, welcome to another great episode of the Place to Be Podcast. I am your co-host, Justin Rosero. And with me, as always, is the man whose favorite quarterback took a Wiz Khalifa all over himself this past Sunday and pissed away a brutal, brutal loss against my New York Football Jets. That is Scott Criscolo. Scott, welcome aboard.
Thank you, as always, JR. Good evening, everybody, or good morning, or good afternoon. I always say good evening, but you never know when our loyal PTB Nation's listening.
This is true.
Yes, it was not pleasant. I seem to feel, though, that every time you play the Wiz Khalifa Open, we seem to have a great cast. So I feel good about tonight, even though we'll probably be crapping all over my two of my three football teams, because the UNH Chargers are 2-0. But the other two teams, my other two football teams, seem to have gone the same exact path on this past weekend. Although I will say, though, believe it or not, that I'm actually much more upset over Notre Dame's meltdown than I am over the Cowboys' meltdown. We'll get into that. We got a full headline show this week. We hope you enjoyed. Actually, I got a few comments. My brother listened to our Survivor Series 92 cast, liked it a lot. So I hope everyone enjoyed the Vintage Vault from earlier in the week. Mm-hmm. But tonight, back to our usual cornucopia of topics. Actually, we're going to try and delve into a little more sports this week. We are winding down in the pennant races. One of us still cares. Mm-hmm. My team, actually, the Met. I heard today on the fan, the Mets were officially eliminated.
That's too
like
bad.
Like that even matters. But they're playing out the string with a lot of good young kids. You know, the Justin Turners, the Pridys. I haven't. This is one crappy Mets season where I've actually enjoyed watching them play it from time to time, because they do have a good young outlet of talent. Unlike most years where they're just old and bad. This year, at least they at least have some promise. But the Yankees, of course, leading the AL East, and we'll get into that. And we'll talk about the Tigers, the Rangers, and everybody else in between. Mm-hmm. We will, of course, talk about our Week 1 recap of the NFL season. We had some very weird results this weekend, to say the least, and some not surprises. And, of course, we'll talk about the meltdown at the Meadowlands. Although I got to be honest with you, I don't know how much you're going to try and chide me tonight, but I'm not as upset about the Cowboys as I thought.
Hey,
but,
I was more into your team than you were, so I'm not going to get on you too much.
And they played great, but as usual, my guy screwed the pooch. But we'll get to that later. And, of course, we'll give you our picks for week number 2. And there's some interesting matchups this weekend to talk about. Interesting ones. And, of course, we will talk wrestling, though. Of course, we do have pay-per-view coming up this weekend. So, Night of Champions from Buffalo, and we'll give you our picks. 7 matches total, 6 of them for championships, 5 one-on-ones and a 4-way. And then, of course, the battle for COO versus respect, I guess you can call it. So,
and of course,
why don't we dive right in?
Yeah, as I say, we'll talk quickly first that you will be here this weekend, live and in person, and we'll be watching this pay-per-view together. Yes,
and it'll be a long day at your beloved Picasso's on Sunday, thanks to the stupid Patriots.
Yes, I know. In the way, as always.
Yeah, as usual. Well, it does work out, though. You're on at 1 o'clock. I'm on at 4 o'clock. So maybe I'll at least get to watch the Cowboys while we're killing time. But we'll get to the full Week 2 schedule a little bit later on. But yes, the main reason I'll be coming into the Chateau de Cranston this weekend is for an outstanding little independent spectacular Saturday night. We'll get to that later on as well. Let you know what's going on. And if you're in the Mass area. And I gotta tell you, I've been living in, Justin and I've been living in New England our whole lives. I don't even know where the hell we're going.
Yeah, I've never heard of Melrose.
I have no idea. It's not near 90. It doesn't have the zip code 90210 either. So.
No, I tried looking it up, and it looks like it's just a little past Boston, up past Boston.
Ugh. We got to drive through, and of course the Red Sox are during the day on Saturday.
4
so.
o'clock. Not even. So we got to be up there around 5:30. So
all these god awful Boston teams ruining everything, ruining all these travel plans for us. But no, it's gonna be a fun weekend as always. Always good to see you. Always good to visit you in Chateau de Cranstone. But we'll get into that a little bit later. Why don't we dive in now to what's going on Sunday? And we'll talk about this past week first. That happened on the Raw Super Show. Do you think? Let me ask you something. After watching the build to this pay-per-view, and after watching Raw again on Monday, do you think that the Cena Del Rio feud has been overshadowed by Punk and Triple H?
Yes, but I think that's kind of by design. I think Del Rio's obviously I'm jumping the gun on the picks here, but I think he's obviously going to retain because they haven't done that Mexico tour yet, and that was the whole reason to give him the belt.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's winning. So I think that's a major reason why they've kind of not had it be the major program of the show. And you also kind of have another kind of... I think the build-up has been good for the match, Randy Orton and Mark Henry, but it's not a marquee main event match. So I think Punk Triple H is obviously going to go last on this show. And, it's got the stipulation, Triple H resigning as COO, even though I think the stipulation is being completely rushed and wasted on this show. And I'm always for, having these kind of matches to help prop up these shows, but I'm starting to wonder if it's even going to matter in the long run. Money in the Bank didn't do as big a number as they were hoping. And if that match couldn't draw fans in, I don't know what it's going to at this point. These pay-per-views are coming fast and furious now. They have this one, and I think it's like 3 and 5 or 6 weeks or something crazy like that.
There's 2 in October, yep, and then of course Survivor Series at Madison Square Garden. Nothing will ever be worse though than the end of 2006 when there was 3 pay-per-views in 4 weeks.
Yeah,
and
this was pretty
ridiculous.
close though. I think this is 3 and 5 or something like that.
Yeah, it's a little nuts, but we'll get into the. I used to talk about that when I first started my radio show. I went on rants about the whole pay-per-view schedule, and since we've started in February, you and I have touched on it at times. And it's always the end of the year because it's got to balance out the fact that usually there's nothing for like 8 weeks between.
Well, it's just too bad too.
Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania.
Because this is the time period too, though, where there's a lot of downtime in the product itself, and it's like it's not really the time you want to be overloading. It's usually at a lull anyway at this point. So I don't know. They probably should get rid of one of these shows. Either this. So what is it? It's this, Hell in a Cell. Actually, no, there's 3 and then Survivor Series. There's this, Hell in a Cell, and Vengeance.
And then Vengeance, then Survivor Series, and then TLC.
So I think this, Hell in a Cell, and Vengeance are all within like 5 weeks.
Yeah. I think this is obviously Sunday, and then Hell in a Cell is, I think, October 2nd. So there's barely 2 weeks of build between this and
it's not like they're brand-specific shows like they used to be, where you could say, or at least that's SmackDown building on their own to that show. This is all everything in one. So
and then those, 3 weeks between that and Vengeance. Let's say October 2nd. It's probably the 20... Let me see. Can I lift my... It's probably the
23rd,
I think. Yeah, 23rd. Yeah. And then the 18th or something of November is Survivor Series at the Garden.
Yeah, so this one, though, until the October 23rd, there's your 5 weeks, and you got one in between. So, kind of crazy.
And this is all before they even talk about Rock coming back. I mean, he's not even thought of.
Are people going to be waiting just to get Survivor Series because they've already mentioned The Rock? Obviously he's been involved in the ticket sales for that show. So how many people can afford to order, besides your friend Mike, can afford to order,
no kidding.
4 straight pay-per-views? Are they going to say, hey, I'm waiting for The Rock. I'm not spending my money on this stuff,
Well,
I think this card looks entertaining.
Right.
I don't think it's $50 entertaining.
Well, I've already said that, and you know me when it comes to gimmicks. We've talked about our favorite gimmicks. My opinion, having an entire pay-per-view of Hell in a Cell is absolutely stupid.
Yeah.
And I've said that all along. The one most magnificent in terms of size, next to Elimination Chamber, but Elimination Chamber doesn't solve feuds. That's a like the Rumble. That's like something to get a bunch of guys in. Hell in a Cell was the know-all, end-all of feuds.
It should be used to end a feud, not have a feud built around having to fill a cell match.
Exactly.
It should organically be used.
Exactly. In the last couple of years, we've had cell matches that have sucked. And I've never in my life before the '09 Hell in a Cell pay-per-view did I ever say that a cell match sucked. Even Nash and Triple H at Bad Blood '03, which everyone hates, even that didn't suck. It may not have been Triple H Batista or Shawn Taker at the level of Cell, but it wasn't eye-bleeding terrible.
No.
But there have been some eye-bleedingly bad cell matches the last 2 years at these pay-per-views, and it's unfortunate. That's the one thing that makes me mad. And I don't know where the thought was to give the Hell in a Cell an entire show. I think people, again, WWE always seems to have a knack for taking something and overrunning the ball.
Well, I think the problem is they were desperate trying to come up with things that might sell, and they thought maybe these gimmick pay-per-views would be a hook, to get. That's why they did Money in the Bank, that TLC, Elimination Chamber, hoping, or bragging rights, Breaking Point. So they start to build these pay-per-views around snips. But the problem is, like we said, now you're just saying, oh, these two guys happen to be feuding in July. Let's have them have a submission match. They're not organically building to anything. No,
not at all. Not at all. And then the writing of the shows leading up to it just seems so shallow and hollow, because now you're trying to you're force feeding something that, as you said, is not organic. Triple H Batista at Vengeance '05 was not organic. That was natural, and it ended with a spectacular cell match.
It was organic.
Organic in the sense. Yeah, that's what I mean. Organic in the sense that it was grown.
Yeah, it happened on its own. Yeah,
and ended spectacularly.
Yeah, it wasn't forced into a cell because the cell pay-per-view happened to be. Although I guess you could say June always was the cell pay-per-view, but
well, that's true. But that's different because it was just them, and it was just that match.
Yeah. It wasn't known saying, "Oh, that pay-per-view is coming. We have to have
4 cell matches." Right. It just didn't. It didn't work. But. The first one for me, I had no problem with the DX Priceless storyline or Legacy storyline in '09, but that match in a cell was dumb. The feud wasn't that vicious that it needed to end in a cell. No, not at all. And last year you had a couple of decent cell matches. What was it, Sheamus?
I don't even remember, to be honest. I don't think I saw the show.
I think it was Sheamus Orton.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. Was Nexus involved? Didn't they all come out?
Yeah, it was Sheamus Orton, and what the hell was the other one? Edge something? No. Who the hell was the World Heavyweight? God, I don't even remember. That's sad. Anyway.
I can tell you all the IC champions through 2003, but I can't.
Yeah, pretty much. I can tell you I can tell you every venue, every pay-per-view from WrestleMania 1 till God knows what, but I can't tell you last October's. And there's your example. 2 guys like us who are Rain Man-esque when it comes to wrestling facts. And I can't remember what the hell the cell match was last October.
Well, here's the whole card. It was Daniel Bryan against Morrison and Miz in the triple threat submission.
Oh, yeah, that was actually a good match. I remember that. That's right. That was
Randy Orton, Sheamus, Hell in a Cell.
Okay.
Edge, Swagger, straight up match. Wade Barrett, Cena. That's the one where Cena had to join the Nexus.
That's right.
Natalia versus Michelle McCool, and then Kane and Undertaker in the cell. 25.
Oh,
minutes.
That's right. That's when Paul Bearer turned. Yeah. He had the big urn with the big light sticking. That's right. The 1995 urn with the gigantic lighthouse light sticking out of it. That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, see? Tells you how memorable it was. But anyway, our whole point is for the next 5 weeks, you're going to have ridiculous feuds shoved down your throat. And right now, the product is on the fans' good side. Or the fans are on their good side. Be careful. Tread lightly, booking team. Tread lightly. Be very careful the next 5 weeks, because you could stick it up everyone's ass by Survivor Series, and then Brock coming won't even matter. You hope not, anyway.
I just don't see how they think they can... I don't know. I don't see what the point is of having all these shows.
I mean, 100.
I just don't get. I mean, if I had kids, I don't know if I can't say I'd be able to spend $50, $150 in a 5-week span for these pay-per-views.
Or go to in your case, go to Picasso's 3 times in 5 Sundays.
Right. I mean, I can go there and work it cheaply, but. Still, yeah. I mean, the time spent,
exactly.
in 3 Sundays in 5 weeks is kind of crazy.
It is crazy. Absolutely. And you're going to have to deal with going there, like you and I, we talked about it, we're going to have to go there a little early. Football Sundays, I guarantee you of course it'll happen every Sunday that there's a pay-per-view, the Pats will be on at 4 o'clock, so you'll probably end up stuck there for 8 hours every time. But, it's just, I don't know. I'm a little leery. I'm optimistic. I'm not crapping as bad as I was a year ago at this time. I'm just very leery. I mean, do we want to see, will Del Rio Cena in a cell? Will that look good? I don't know. Maybe. I mean, will Orton, Henry, I guarantee you it's going to be a triple threat. Orton, Henry, and Christian.
Yeah,
in Hell.
yeah,
So
I'm guessing so as well.
I guarantee that's what's going to be. Who knows what they'll do with Cena Del Rio? I don't know. But anyway, we'll talk about that pay-per-view.
Yeah, let's talk about this one first.
Let's get that out of the way first. So anyway, for Raw, I didn't see the spoilers yet. I didn't get a chance to check the SmackDown spoilers.
Well,
we do have our final title filled.
Yeah, that match isn't actually announced on the spoilers on SmackDown. So it's either going to be announced, on a pre-tape or post-tape, something edited in. But it was announced on. Actually, I don't know if they even said it on the website. Our friend Derek LaRue said it's on 4 and 1, heavily rumored. So usually this matches like this that are rumored throughout the week usually pop up by the day of the show. So
yeah, exactly.
We're confident including it.
Yeah, and that is and maybe we'll obviously talk about it momentarily, but the last belt that had not been filled yet was for the Intercontinental title. And right now the rumor is Cody Rhodes against his former priceless partner Ted DiBiase.
Yeah.
We'll get to the picks in a minute. I just want to go over Raw real quick. Another promo for the network, and I'm already the rumblings in my building are already starting to get a little louder. Just to let you know that. The 9/11 piece was outstanding, very, very well done. But when it comes to Vince and patriotism in the military, you're going to get a very respectful piece of footage.
Yes, I will say this. Actually, Dave Lagana did a great podcast. He had 5 different people on that were hired by or worked at WWE during 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
And he had talked about their experiences of that week, within the company. He talked to JBL,
mm-hmm.
Lillian Garcia, Paul Heyman, and then it was like a writer and a producer.
Oh,
so,
okay. Wow.
Really good. So anyone who listens to that or hasn't checked it out in a while, the On Wrestling podcast, very well done. Interesting stuff. Lillian talks about, singing the national anthem, and JBL gets into how he suggested the going overseas for the yearly events and how that came about. And Heyman talks about having to announce that SmackDown show and a lot of cool stuff. So,
yes.
Playing off the 9/11 thing.
And we are still trying to attain our long-term goal here on the Place to Be podcast of having Dave Lagana on right here.
I know. I gotta get Stevie on. Stevie and our buddy John Walters involved because I think they both have a working knowledge, or Eddie Edwards as well,
right.
Actually through Ring of Honor. So
all by the way, exceptional guests right here on this program.
Yes.
And for those that are new to the PTB Nation, welcome. And if you hadn't had a chance to listen, go back into our archives on our Place to Be podcast page for all of our past shows, including the interviews with John Walters, Eddie Edwards, and Stevie Richards. So, outstanding. So that was an outstanding piece. The show, and then the ending. I got to be honest, the ending promo, what did you think of it? The ending promo between Triple H and Punk. What did you think of it?
I'm just afraid Punk is getting a little too whiny and inside at this point. Like, I know that was successful at first, but, saying the real names, Phil Brooks and Paul Levesque, and talking about being held back, and Survivor Series 96 is already 5 years ago. You know what I mean? That would be like in 1999, people bitching about shit that happened in 1994. Like, think about how different that sounded.
And Triple H kind of quelched it. He's like, look what you've done. You won 2 Money in the Banks. You've been World Heavyweight Champion. You've been in Hell in a Cells. You've main evented pay-per-views. You've won ladder matches. What the hell do you want? And Punk really didn't answer it right. So I thought as good as, again, it was pre-written, but it was actually good because Triple H actually finally didn't sound like he was painted into a corner. And Punk saying the whole thing about, oh, you guys want the bodybuilder, big jacked up guy main eventers. And then Triple H said, well, Shawn Michaels wasn't jacked up. Bret Hart wasn't jacked up. He didn't say John Cena, right? Because Cena is jacked up. So this was the first time that Punk's bitching kind of came back to bite him in the ass. But having said that, you'll be surprised at my pick when we get to the matches. I didn't think it was that bad. Yeah, the Paul Levesque Phil Brooks thing, that was unnecessary. Come on, Punk. We get it now. It's okay.
Yeah,
you don't have to.
I just wish they'd stick more to a storyline. Like, we talked about this when we were previewing Money in the Bank, saying how the Punk Cena stuff was good because Punk was still keeping it within a narrative. Like, he wanted the world title.
Right.
And he wanted to humiliate Cena. And he was using the ancillary smarky stuff. But this has just been straight up, like, backstage things. Like, what does Punk want? What is he looking for? A better push? This is where it gets out of control now. Because now it's getting to the backstage, breaking the fourth wall kind of thing.
Right. Which was nice on that one promo. Now, breaking the fourth wall every time, now it's not going to be special anymore. So now he needs to...
Well, it's fine when it's used correctly.
Mm-hmm.
When it's used to, help a wrestling storyline feud.
Right. And using it every week for 6 straight weeks, after a while, it just doesn't fly anymore.
So, I mean, the promo as a standalone, if I'm watching it on a DVD 4 years from now, is very entertaining. In the context of the feud and the match,
Yeah. Okay. Just curious. I thought that for the first time, Triple H actually countered.
His stuff was good. Yeah,
punts,
I liked
with
his rebuttal.
legitimate. Instead of just generalizations, he legitimately said, "Look, you were on the bet. But you know what? You were on the hot team. Think of the team that year at Survivor Series 06. It was me, Sean, you, and the Hardys. It's probably the most awesome."
Well, Punk had a point though. I mean, he really was the most over.
Yes, he was. Well, but he did also the benefit of that city as well. I guess how
anywhere in the Northeast.
Just like Money in the Bank was good to be in Chicago, the fact that pay-per-view was in Philly didn't hurt, but it's not a bad thing. I'm just saying. So Raw overall wasn't bad. I'm starting to get into the Vicky Dolph Swagger interaction. I'd like to see her kind of have a stable. I think that would be kind of neat.
Well, we'll get to Vicky in a few minutes when we hit the news. I think looks like maybe she's headed for a hiatus. So. Oh,
okay. Maybe that means she must get hurt then Sunday. But we'll get to that in a second. So why don't we lay out our picks?
Okay.
And see how we both do. How do we do at SummerSlam? What do we finish? Sure. 5 and. I'm trying to think. I think we did fairly well.
I can check right now. 1 second.
We'll have to see how we did with our SummerSlam picks.
SummerSlam. Let's see. Oh, we were all awful. I got none right.
Are you serious?
You didn't do the ones on the board, so I don't know.
No, I didn't do the board. And when I miss a month on the board, I don't even bother anymore.
Yeah, but you should do it so we can compare how we did on the podcast.
Now I'll do it, but yeah. Okay, so why don't we break it down?
In fairness, we only picked 4 matches.
That's true, too.
Because there were only so many announced. So, yeah, none right, but, I mean, it wasn't really exactly a ton to pick from.
Exactly. We have 7 matches here, 6 for championships. All 6 are on the line, and, of course, Punk and Triple H. We are at the HSBC Arena, Buffalo, New York. The only one from Buffalo I can remember off the top of my head is Fully Loaded 99. But there's been a few there, at least 3 or 4, I think.
Is that where Edge won the title, or was that Albany?
That was Albany.
Okay.
I think there was a No Mercy. A couple of SmackDown onlys. Like a No Mercy or a No Way Out or something like that in the last 5 or 6 years was in Buffalo, too. Buffalo and Baltimore. The SmackDown shows were always there.
Yes.
In fact, Baltimore is where I think TLC is this year. Now that I think about it. Wow, they're going to the state of New York twice in less than a month and a half because obviously it matters. Although upstate and Manhattan are like 2 different.
Yeah, it's not really.
So it's like 2 different continents. So all right, let's begin with the Divas Championship match, which pits the champion Kelly in a rematch from SummerSlam against Beth Phoenix. I'm sorry, this one has to be a no-brainer. I can't see Beth laying down 2 months in a row.
No, and they've taken to Twitter again. These two now, Kelly. Basically talking shit back to Beth, tired of taking their nonsense. I can't see them jobbing Beth out again here. So, yeah, I'm with you. I think her and Natalya take the belt back for their little stable.
Yeah, and unlike, as much as I loved Lay Cool, at times I like Lay Cool. Other times I wanted to stick my ice pick in my ear. I like this little combination. I could see them almost belt sharing as well, but not as corny as Lay Cool. But yeah, Beth Phoenix, I think we both think is her time now. Kelly's time is up as Divas Champion. So we both have Beth Phoenix winning the Divas Championship Sunday at Night of Champions. Next, the Unified Tag Team Championships, the WWE Tag Team Championships. Your champs, what do you think of the nickname Air Boom?
I mean, I think they probably could have been better, but I like that they have a name.
They can make cool T-shirts out of it. Of course, the team of Air Boom is Evan Bourne and Kofi Kingston, and they will take on this kind of swank little upper mid-card team of The Miz and R-Truth.
And it sounds like they're going to have... I thought I read somewhere that they had a team name, or there was one they were talking about something something Truth. I forget what it is. But
Awesome Truth. Awesome Jimmy.
I forget. But yeah, they're a good team too. The two conspiracy guys, good talkers, unique talkers, and so I don't say similar styles, but complementary styles. So
Right, exactly.
yeah, I like. I mean, Triple H said he was going to focus the tag division and rebuild it, and he's doing it. So.
Yep. And you and I may differ on this one, but I think Air Boom is going to retain the titles on Sunday.
No, I agree. I can't see them.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't see them taking it off yet. I think maybe Miz and Truth get disqualified, or there's some kind of fucked up finish, and then they have a rematch at the next show. But I think Air Boom, they just won it. I can't see them doing another switch now.
Right, exactly. So we both in agreement that Air Boom will retain their tag team championships. Let us move on now to the heavily rumored and likely happening Intercontinental Championship match, pitting the champ, Cody Rhodes, who Dr. G, our good friend, said, by the way, very complimentary things about when I talked to him earlier in the week. He was not crazy about him in the beginning, but he watched Raw this week, and he actually likes the character with the mask and everything. I was actually pleasantly surprised. He's a big Dusty fan anyway, so he's a fan of the Rhodes family. Then again, who isn't? He will take on his former Priceless partner, Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man. This will be a good match, but Cody has earned so much kudos. I can't see them taking the belt off him now.
No, definitely not for DiBiase. I mean, this feud hasn't been bad on SmackDown. DiBiase was lackey, and he's finally kind of had enough. And Cody had been abusing him, so Cody took off the mask on Raw and used it to defeat Randy Orton in a pretty good match and a good upset. So I don't know if that means the mask is done now or if he was just using it as a weapon in that match, but maybe they're finally moving on from it. We'll see. But yeah, Cody definitely retains. I think they want to build him up. I wouldn't be surprised if he actually holds the belt to Mania, to be honest with you.
I wouldn't be surprised either, and I think you and I both talked about that when he won it from Zeke a couple weeks ago, that I think he will hold it through. Well, why not? I mean...
Yeah, he definitely should. I agree.
Yeah, why not? And then it could be a great, get a good build going. Make a legit IC title feud, something really good, really juicy. So we both think that Cody Rhodes will retain his Intercontinental Championship over Ted DiBiase. Now, the only non-one-on-one match at Night of Champions, a fatal four-way for the United States Championship. The champion, Dolph Ziggler, will take on the team of Jack Swagger, John Morrison, and A-Rai in his first...
No, it's not a team, is it? It's a four-way.
No, I said... did I say the team of? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I said fatal four-way, but no, they're not a team. It is three good... Well, it's two good guys, a bad guy, and a who knows. Jack Swagger, John Morrison, and A-Rai, Alex Riley. A fatal four-way against Dolph Ziggler with Dolph Ziggler in it for the United States Championship. I'm going to take John Morrison. I think Swagger... A-Rai's not ready yet, and that's fine. That's okay. He will get his day, but he's good in this match for some moves and having a fourth guy. I think there'll be some miscommunication between Swagger and Ziggler, and Morrison will pin somebody and become the U.S. champion. So I like Morrison in that match.
I don't know. I mean, they obviously don't seem to have much going on with Morrison right now. And he's kind of been buried since his return. He's got the heat with Melina. I don't think they're going to give him the title. I mean, has he really been involved in this feud that much? I haven't noticed.
No, not really.
So sometimes they like to do that stuff where they'll have a guy come out of nowhere and win the title. He seems like he's been too out of the loop to win the title here. I agree with you. Riley's probably not ready, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did the upset either and had him win.
That'd be great. I'd love to see that. That'd be fun.
I'm going to go with Swagger. I think Dolph loses thanks to Vicky, and that kind of leads to her leaving TV maybe for a little bit. And it seems like they want to push Swagger and give him something to do. So,
okay, so you say Jack Swagger, and I say John Morrison. I think maybe he's got a little redemption. We'll see. All right, now the two top-level title matches will begin with the World Heavyweight Championship match, pitting the champion, Randy Orton, the Predator, the Apex Predator, taking on Mark Henry and his Hall of Pain. I think they should make it. That's another cool T-shirt. I think they should make.
Yes, that whole little vignette they did before SmackDown. I don't know if you saw it, where it was him going through all the guys that he's entered into the Hall of Pain.
Yes,
it was really well done.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. But he will not win this match. Not ready. I think Orton will continue on his run, and I think this.
If there was ever a time to do it, it's now.
What for Mark Henry?
Yeah, I'm just saying he's been well booked and well done. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm just saying if there was a time to do it, now maybe it. It
would be a huge upset, I think. Huge upset. But and I don't think it's going to happen. I think it'll be a good match. It'll be a good 10, 11-minute affair. And I don't think there'll be any outside anything. I can't see if Orton can RKO. I mean, RKOing him would be hard. It's not like he's got to lift him up or anything, but I think it'll be a good visual.
Well, I mean, Christian, I think, is obviously going to get involved.
Yeah. Maybe somebody wins or loses by DQ, but Orton, I'm going to say Orton will retain the title and win by disqualification.
I don't know. I think he'll probably end up pinning him thanks to, I don't know. Christian will get involved. May Henry gets distracted, and then that helps lead to the three-way. But yeah, Orton is definitely going to win this.
Okay, so Orton, we both say Orton will keep the title in Buffalo. The final title match on this show pits the WWE champion, Alberto Del Rio, against John Cena, as Santino would say.
By the way, how funny was I loved Alberto's line about all these Canadians? They're like the ones I hire to clean my gardens.
Yeah, I know. Mexico. Illegal Canadians. That's funny.
That was good. I liked how he said Bret Hart looked like a bum and everything.
Yeah, with his 1994 jacket. Yeah. That's funny. There were no tassels on the shoulders, Del Rio. Get your facts straight.
At least Bret was no more jorts. He had the khakis on.
Yeah, he had the khaki shorts on. Yes, exactly. I maybe someday if he loses his, although he doesn't look like looks like he has lost some weight. He looks like he's in decent shape. It'd be good to see the singlet back on him again, but I doubt we'll ever see that.
Probably not.
Believe it or not, and I know you think I'm crazy, and I know the Mexico tour and everything, but I think Cena's going to win.
Nah, I don't think so. The whole reason they gave Del Rio the title was so he had it for October.
Well, I don't know. Maybe he'll win it at. Well, all right. Let's put it this way. I'll say he'll win the match, but he won't win the title.
Yeah, I don't see Cena winning the title before Mania because I don't think they want the title involved with him and Rock. And I don't think they're going to give him another cheapy reign. I think Del Rio's going to hold it, or someone else gets in the mix.
So you don't think Rock versus Cena will be for the title?
No, I've kind of reversed course on it. I think they want to have 2 title matches to build that card up, to load it up.
Okay.
I think Rock's going to cost Cena the title of Survivor Series. It'd be like, I didn't come back for the title, I came back for you.
I've done that already. Been there, done that. Makes sense. All right. Well, I say Cena wins, but he doesn't win the title. I say DQ or count out. But Cena will win the match. We don't necessarily, he'll win the match, but I don't think he'll win the title. So do you think he'll win or lose the match? Who do you like actually winning the match?
I'll pick Del Rio.
You think Del Rio retains it? Okay. I think Cena wins the match, but not the title.
I mean, yeah, Ricardo could get involved or something like that, but I think Del Rio gets a cheap pin.
Okay. And finally, our probably main event, which the only upsetting thing about this is the show's called Night of Champions and the main event's going to have no belt involved, but whatever. Yeah. I don't think anybody's we're not pulling splitting hairs here.
Yeah.
CM Punk versus Triple H, no DQ, and if Triple H loses, he relinquishes COO.
Yeah, I think this is a no-brainer, obviously.
No, I don't think so. I'm picking Punk to win. I'll tell you why. Because I think we haven't one whole part of this whole equation that people seem to not. Well, we've talked about it, but there's still this weird kind of behind the scenes cahoots between Kevin Nash and Marty Funkhauser there, and I think Laurinaitis in storyline he hates being Triple H's bitch. He wants his shot, so I think Nash is going to secretly, under Marty Funkhauser, cost Triple H the match. Punk wins, and Monday Night on Raw, Laurinaitis will become the new COO. That's what I think. That too. He'll scream it out on Raw.
I don't know. I think Triple H is going to stay in that role because I don't think he wants to return to wrestling full time. Honestly, I think Nash and we'll just read this now because we have this separate from our news section, but from WrestleChat, according to multiple sources within WWE, Kevin Nash is booked to appear at Night of Champions pay-per-view. Triple H fired Nash on Raw last week, and the WWE website announced it later that week. Nash also stated on Twitter due to financial reasons he left, but this is all part of the storyline. So I'm thinking he comes out and he helps Triple H beat Punk, and it's finally revealed that Funkhauser, Triple H, and Nash have been working together this whole time.
I agree. I think the same. Oh, so the Triple H is part of this then.
Yeah, I think
So you
Triple H
he'll
is
eventually
involved.
turn heel.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's booked. He's involved.
Unlike some people. I disagree. I'm going to go the other route. I think that Nash and Marty Funkhauser there, Johnny L, Ace, wants that COO position, and I think just because Triple H loses his COO spot doesn't necessarily mean he's going to go back to wrestling. I don't know. Maybe he'll get seriously hurt. Maybe Nash will power bomb him.
No, I think you're way. Yeah, I think you're doing what a lot of people do. I mean, us included in the past. You're coming up with these situations that you think would be really good, but you know they're never going to do all this stuff. You know they're not going to put Triple H out already for another lengthy time with an injury. I don't think he's coming back to wrestle full time, and I think they want to position Punk as the Austin-esque face, and they want a McMahon to play against him. I think Laurinaitis is served better as kind of Triple H's crony than as like the main guy.
Okay. All right.
I think you have Triple H as like the Vince. Nash is going to be kind of like his boss man. And then, Funkhauser will be his stooge. And then eventually he'll have Del Rio as his corporate champion.
As his Rock.
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to stick with my story. Okay. I think it'll be good for, we'll see what happens. I'm going to stick with it. We'll see what happens. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but...
I think you're definitely overthinking it.
All right, well, that's why we have this show. That's why we make the picks. We'll see. I mean, you're probably right. But with my convictions, I'm going to stick with this and see how it rolls. I might be wrong. I also would like to see Punk win because Triple H wins. I don't want to hear everybody bitch on Monday either. So I'm trying to avoid that as well. So I'm going to take... It's
going to happen win or lose because they'll find something to bitch about.
Yeah, well, that's true too. In any event, I like Punk to win the match and some type of schism backstage involving Ace, Funkhauser, and Triple H. So we'll see. And then Nash, and we still haven't talked about this whole thing. Why he uses the NWO music instead of using the Diesel-esque generic that they gave him. Well, it wasn't generic. I guess it was a Diesel. Did they actually give him the Diesel theme at the Rumble? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah. Well, no, not the actual Diesel theme.
It was like a hybrid Diesel theme. Yeah.
I mean,
and then also
maybe it's also possible he comes in and they kind of redo, the NWO. He's been fired and he's invading with a bunch of people. Who knows? Yeah, they could do something like that too.
Interesting as well. A lot of things could come from this, but we'll take our two scenarios. You like Triple H to win, and I like Punk, so that's fine. So our official picks are: I took Morrison, Rhodes, Phoenix, Air Boom, Orton, Cena, and Punk. And you have Rhodes, Phoenix, Air Boom, Swagger, Orton, Del Rio, and Triple H.
Cool.
God, when was the last time you picked Triple H and I didn't?
I know.
Quite a while ago. So there's our picks, and we'll post them on the Facebook page, and we definitely want to hear your thoughts and your picks for the Night of Champions. I'm curious to see what our man Jay Arsenio D'Amato, the master of the apostrophe. You know what'll happen? Matt Rotello will write his name down and forget it.
Yeah, that'll be the one time he doesn't use an apostrophe.
And yours will be Row apostrophe zero.
God, fucking tool. All right, so
there's our picks. Again, please go to our Facebook page and put down your picks that you think is going to happen on Sunday, and we'll see how we all do when we do next week's headline show.
Right. So let's move along from WWE live happenings. What we're going to do is we'll get to the wrestling news as well. So in a minute,
yes.
But let's talk about this weekend first.
Yes.
We have a big event coming up Saturday night. You're coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And we're heading up to Melrose, Massachusetts for the 10th anniversary bash of the MWF.
Yes.
Memorial Hall in Melrose, Mass.
It is a large gray building next to the fire station.
Yes, just like every other Memorial Hall.
Yes, that's the description.
So if
I just said another thing, the large gray building next to the fire station.
So at 5:30, they're starting their little fan fest. They're gonna have autographs and photos, and then at 6:30, live wrestling starts with bonus matches during the fan fest, and then from there, the actual show is gonna kick off. Some pretty cool names in attendance. We have Carlito, Paul Bearer, the Boogeyman, Low Key, who of course is battling our good friend John Walters, in which should be an awesome match.
Yes, I agree.
They're gonna stiff the shit out of each other. You just know it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Definitely looking forward to that.
The Monster Abyss, Mr. USA, Tony Atlas, Tony Garea, and Ox Baker.
That's the one, believe it or not, I'm most looking forward to because he lives in Connecticut. I can't remember what town he lives in, but he lives in Connecticut, and I'm looking forward to meeting him because I've never met Ox Baker. Tony Gurria I used to see all the time when I lived in Hamden, which is just west of New Haven for those that don't know Connecticut, in the central part of the state. And he used to go to the same gym I did, so I used to see Tony Gurria all the time. He's a very nice guy. He was a New Zealand accent, so kind of cool to see him. I haven't met Tony Atlas. God, saw him at a house show. I couldn't even tell you how long ago.
Stuffing money under his mattress.
Exactly, or in the cookie jar.
In the clock.
Abyss, kind of need to meet because I've never been to a TNA. Well, yeah, you and I went to that house show.
Was he at that one? I think he was.
Yeah, I think he was. I'm just memorable for Matt Rotella spilling coffee on Spike Dudley, and 3 days later he was fired. So,
yeah.
So, Boogeyman, he's actually very jealous, Matt. I told him you didn't invite him, and he was very upset.
I don't want him there. Tired of him and his apostrophe issues.
Yes, because all of his guys are here. Boogeyman, Abyss, Ox Baker.
Well, if he looks at Ox Baker, he's looking at his future in about 20 years, what he's going to look like.
Oh, God. There's a VIP exclusive raffle, autographed official promo, 8x10 photos of Vince, Orton, and Sin Cara.
It's odd. So I wonder if they have a working relationship with them.
Well, they must, because you and I went to that show, when we went to that show right before 20...
Yeah, but that was like bootleg fan cam shit. I mean, autographed photos.
But remember, though, in the front lobby, though, they were selling belts and stuff. I can't see them being allowed to do that without...
That's weird. But they have an Edge autographed WrestleMania plaque, Miz, or I mean, unless these people just won this shit or bought the shit, now they're reselling it. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh my God, ring-worn autographed tights from the Iron Sheik.
Oh God.
I wonder if it's those. I wonder if those ones that go past his knee that say Iran, like the hat on his rubber doll. If those are it, those are awesome.
Yeah.
I'd get those.
We may have to spring the $10 to beat Paul Bearer, get the autograph.
Yes, absolutely.
Actually, the Edge plaque is pretty cool.
Yes, I think that's kind of cool as well.
And anyone who's interested, this is on www.bostonwrestling.com, and you can just hit the MWF 10 event.
Yes. The address again, 590 Main Street, the Memorial Hall in Melrose, Massachusetts. It's this Saturday night. And again, large gray building next to the fire station.
Yes.
Yes, that's great. 5:30 autographs and photos, 6:30 live wrestling, and then bonus matches. So little dark match action during the Fan Fest, huh?
Yep.
I'm curious.
Should be fun.
Yeah. Maybe I may not have as awesome a moment as looking at DVDs with Greg the Hammer Valentine, but you never know. He may be there anyway, too.
And we are hopeful, John. Hopefully, we'll be able to line up some interviews so we can bring those back to you guys here at the Nation.
Yes. I'm looking right. I'm right now trying to get the recorder. I have not heard back yet. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
So.
If worse comes to worse, we can.
I think you have something on your iPhone.
Yeah, I was gonna say we can just record at my iPhone. But
yeah, you can record on the iPhone too. But yeah, we'll see what happens. The plaque, the WrestleMania plaque, is pretty cool. Yes, it just loaded on my computer now. I just took a look at it. It's very nice. Very nice.
I am gonna put that up on the Face to Be Facebook page now. The Place to Be Facebook page right now.
Not another one.
Here is a picture. I put the plaque up for you guys. You can check that out.
So we have. I think the match lineup is here. Let's see.
Is it? Because I haven't seen it yet.
Let me see if it loads up. The main event. For the MWF Heavyweight Championship, the rematch of the decade, the MWF Heavyweight Champion, Slick Wagner Brown of JBL's Uprising, takes on the MWF Television Champion, Straight Edge Brian Fury. And the special timekeeper is indeed Tony Gurria.
Yeah, Slick Wagner Brown's pretty good. I saw him way back when John put on a show at our school for cystic fibrosis.
Oh, he was at that show?
Yes.
Oh, that's right.
Actually, he fought John, I believe. So and that was a good match. And that was when he's just breaking in. He was good. So I can imagine how he's developed now. So
yes. The co-main event, the 6-man Drag Me to Hell War, pits the Monster Abyss, Todd Hansen, and the Demon Luis Ortiz.
He's another guy I saw coming up with John, Luis Ortiz. He's pretty good as well.
With Ox Baker, taking on Stalker Dylan Cage and the MWF Tag Team Champions, one of our good friends that we met, Rick Fuller, and the Executioner Milonis with Paul Bearer. Nice. Stalker Dylan Cage is the creepiest looking guy I've ever seen in my life. He's got white eyes he's got like Incredible Hulk eyes. It's very creepy. And then of course
Rick Fuller though, really cool team. really cool. Really good. A really cool guy. Really nice guy.
Yes, he was. Very nice guy. Very nice guy. We had the pleasure of after we went to the show up in where the hell was it? Malden?
No.
I always forget where it was.
Yeah. It was right near, kind of near Worcester.
Yeah. We went to that show. It was right before WrestleMania 25, right? 2009 we went? Yeah. And we had the pleasure of John invited us out to the after show drinking, and Rick Fuller was a great guy. Everybody was very cool. It was a lot of fun.
Just incredible. He was really nice.
Yes.
Even though I talked about Aldo Montoya, he's still. Oh no, actually, I brought up the match. Yes, as PJ Walker when he beat IRS, and he was impressed. So.
Yes, he was. And then he tried to steal Andy's lighter. So.
Yes.
And of course, the match you and I are most looking forward to, a top contenders match out of retirement. The Hurricane, John Walters, taking on Low-Key / Caval. I think that match is going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, they're going to beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah, you know that John's going to bring the game. So
and now, speaking of John.
Oh wait, we have two more.
Oh, sorry.
Hall of Famer, Mr. Tony Atlas with Bull Montana taking on the East Coast Cowboy DJ Dubai.
Wow, so Tony's actually wrestling, huh? He's not just going to. Oh, okay.
And then the gift from the dark side, Dylan Cage's Halloween gift for Paul Bearer. Also in action, Carlito, the Boogeyman, Scott Reed, Julian Starr, Matt Taven, Sonny Yee 2000, and many more to be announced.
Interesting.
So this is going to be a very fun show. Fascinating. It's just a very I can't describe it. It's just so unique of an indie show. If you live in the area, if you're close by, I recommend you go. Let me see what.
And you can hang out with us.
And you can hang out, and you can meet the PICs. What are the ticket prices? Let's take a look. Get your tickets today. Let's see how much the tickets are. Let's see. I can't see them being that expensive. The VIP packages are sold out. That's what it says on the website.
Yep. Yeah, it's 33 for front row, 30 for floor, and then 23 general admission. So
yeah, so $23. Not bad.
No,
and
come support your local scene.
Yeah, and you're seeing some good wrestling. And trust me, I would pay $33 to see Caval and Low-Key and John.
Yes.
I think that match. I agree with you. I think that match is gonna be ridiculous.
Yeah, John always works hard, always puts on a good match, and obviously you guys all know Low-Key / Caval always gets it done as well. So, but I wanted to quickly talk about John as well because on October 1st he posted on his Facebook page today is the return of Lucha Libre USA.
Oh, good.
On MTV2. And John told me he's been cutting some really good promos. And, of course, he's got the whole thing going where he's in alignment with our friend Stevie Richards.
Yep.
So they got a lot going on. Brand new season starting October 1st at 10 a.m. Eastern. So it looks like they're moving it. Is that a Saturday, October 1st? It must be.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So it looks like they're going to be on Saturday mornings, which is cool. So if you're interested, check that out. MTV2. Some great Lucha Libre USA action. Of course, John is under the name RJ Brewer there. So he'll be taking care of business, as he always says.
Yes. No, it'll be a good time. Be a good time. Looking forward to seeing that this year. So so MWF 10 this weekend in Melrose. No, not 90210, but Melrose, Mass. FanFest starts at 5:30. I'm just looking for you know what it is, JR. I'm just looking forward to the kibitzing. I'm just looking forward to the mulling around the crowd. Just seeing all the guys. It's just it's a blast. It really is. So if you live nearby, I know our man, I know Mr. LaRue has been thinking of joining us and a couple other people. So it'll be a good time. If you're nearby, come on down. It's gonna be a fun time. We'll have some laughs. We'll maybe get a little podcast preview. Guests down the line. Maybe if you impress us with something, maybe we'll have you on. We still got to get Todd Weber on.
Yes.
We still got he still has to cash in his contest award. Incidentally, we have to talk later on about the awesome Photoshop picture that our man Mr. Greenhouse posted.
Yeah, Jason Greenhouse is a Photoshop stud.
He is. We got a lot more ideas that we got to put his way. So
well, speaking of JG, he and our good friend Josh Richer are actually sharing the same airspace right now, as they are both at Yankee Stadium for the Big Four concert.
Yes, that's right. It is a huge show. There's a few people. Our man Larry is at the show too.
Yeah, that's right. Larry's there.
It's Metallica, Megadeth,
Anthrax,
and
Slayer.
Pantera? Slayer. Okay. The second concert ever at the new Yankee Stadium. I went to the first back in July, which was Paul McCartney. Very different, very different genre.
Sounds like a wild show though. Josh and his sister Samantha Gray are in attendance. And
really?
Yeah, calm down.
You start playing the Andy Gibb music? No, just kidding.
They're both there as well. So it seems like he's having a good time from his Facebook posts he's been doing. I did ask if Metallica played the cover of Motorhead's Enter Sandman, and he had him laugh.
Oh, you have to let him know. If you have to ask him if they play the guy that failed in honor of the great.
Yes, I asked him if Lone Star was coming out. So
all right, good. Well, he better.
So anyway, shout out there to Josh and Jason Greenhouse.
Yes.
Big Place to Be Nation members, and of course Jason, the king of the Photoshops.
King of the Photoshop. You know what, Jason? I'm going to give you an assignment because Justin always gives you. I'd like you to do a nice Photoshop because Justin hasn't had a chance to enjoy some quality time with his bromances. So why don't you do a nice picture of him and the departing Coco Beware, because you were very upset on Monday. Very upset.
Still upset.
High energy.
High energy.
So JG, trying to give us a nice Photoshop picture of Justin crocodile tears for the great Coco Beware. So, all right, we still got a lot to talk about. But why don't we take a breather, let's take a deep breath, and talk to our good friends from WrestleChat.net, because
promotional consideration is paid for by the following.
How many pro wrestling news websites do you visit to get your daily news? 3, 4, maybe 5? Do yourself a favor and make that number 1. WrestleChat.net, the only professional wrestling news site that brings you all wrestling news all day long, and is home of the critically acclaimed Still Real to Us podcast, starring former CZW, ROH, and ECW announcer Eric Gargiulo and the champ Jeff Beck. That's WrestleChat.net. WrestleChat, it's where it's at.
Jeff Beck.
Where do they live? Maybe we should invite them to Melrose. They're probably somewhere.
Yeah, I'm not sure where they are.
I don't know where they live. But, and Mr. Freeze Bars.
As much fun as they are to freeze as they are to eat.
We are, of course, about to begin our weekly WrestleChat.net news and headlines segment, brought to you by our good friends, Mr. Gargiulo and Mr. Peck and the rest of the gang at WrestleChat.net. Great source for news and notes. They have an awesome message board, and you can look at the news and notes, and then go to the right side of the page and click on the Place to Be podcast link right there for you.
Yep.
So go to our friends at WrestleChat.net. All right, why don't you dive right in for us? What's number one? Number one on the list.
Of course, all of the following stories are taken right from their website.
Yes.
So the first one I pulled earlier today is major news, especially for your area.
Yes.
Unfortunately, not great news for fans of the WWE, who had seemed to be maybe loosening the reins a little bit on their content lately. CTPost.com reports that Linda McMahon will make her 2012 Senate campaign official next Tuesday. Sources close to Linda's camp believe she may announce her running during a jobs-oriented speech at a manufacturing plant next week.
Yes, and she is, of course, going for the seat that is going to be vacated by the retiring Joe Lieberman, one of the most popular senators in the state. He won the seat back in, 88? Yeah, 88 he won the seat. He beat Lowell Weicker. So let's see, 88, then he won in 94, because it goes every 6 years. 94, 2000, 2006. Yeah, he's won 4 terms. This is his 4th term as a U.S. Senator from the wonderful state of Connecticut. So he is retiring, he and his wife Hadassah will relax in the Westville section of New Haven, where they're from. And now we're off and running. And I think 2 things are going to change. Number one, I don't think the product's going to make a big difference this time around. I mean, at this point, how much more bitching about wrestling can any of these guys really do? I think voters...
No, I don't know. Politicians, they're going to do anything they can to defame her. They'll probably dig even more. And regardless, they're still going to play it safe on WWE TV. So I think we're headed back to another year, which is interesting with The Rock coming back and getting involved in things. That they're going to be going pretty G-rated now.
Yeah, well, I feel like they're G-rated anyway. Still,
they've been a little better. They've been a little bit edgier.
Well, we haven't seen any blood except for Jerry's blown up nose on Monday Night on Raw. And number 2, the difference is she is going to be doing more. She's actually going to have fundraisers and raise campaign money through donors rather than spending all of her own money, which is weird because people said, she tried to buy the election in 2010 when she lost to Dick Blumenthal. But at the same time, it was totally legal in the campaign finance laws that were invented, and now she's going to have to kind of walk down that slippery slope. So it's always a catch-22. But we'll see what happens. This race is going to be a lot different. She's got a much better chance, in my opinion, early on. Again, we got a long way to go, and there's plenty of. She's obviously running as a Republican, and there's already like 2 or 3 Democrats that have already put their head in as well. Most of them are already state reps. Chris Murphy, a couple of other names have popped up. She's got a better chance here because there's a lot of unknowns and youngsters in this race. As much as I thought she had a chance against Blumenthal in the whole scope of things, she probably didn't. He's a well-known, well-respected politician in this state. He's been the attorney general for 20 years. As much as I thought he was running for the wrong job, I thought he should have ran for governor, but because Governor Malloy is a tool, I think he would have done a better job. I don't think Linda had as good a chance. This time, she's going up against younger, just as inexperienced as she is in terms of as much as a couple of these guys have been state reps for a couple of years. And one guy that she's going to have an issue with in the primary is going to be Chris Shays, who was the congressman from the area I live in here in Fairfield County for years and years and years. And he lost his seat in 2008 during the whole Obama tidal wave. He lost to Jim Himes. So he's running as in the Republican primary. So she may not even make it out of on the ticket. So it's a catch-22.
Well,
so we'll see what happens. But
before we put the rest of the Place to Be Nation to sleep,
I just want to
Connecticut politics. But what we'll do is, I think as we get closer next year, we'll have Leanne Griffin on. She's always has her ear to the ground when it comes to this stuff. So you guys can hash it out. So, all right, let's move along. A couple news stories that are not on our docket that have just kind of popped up, and of course, Wrestle Chat always breaking stories throughout the day.
Yep.
Ric Flair reportedly injured his left arm in his match against Sting at Monday's TNA Impact Wrestling tapings, which air tomorrow night. Backstage reviews of the match were negative, as there were numerous blown spots, and one source even said the match was so bad it has no place on TV. Regarding who's to blame, it said that Flair is rusty, but sources say Sting deserves a lot of the blame as well. It appears he observes that he forgot some of his planned spots.
Certainly not Clash of the Champions 1, is it?
No, Flair is... He needs to go away. He's getting to Matt Hardy levels with me.
It's upsetting. It breaks my heart.
I mean, if he was a manager or something like that, it'd be fine. But just stop wrestling.
As far as I'm concerned, his career ended the night after WrestleMania 24. As far as I'm concerned, the last 3 years have not happened.
Well, he was okay though in the role where he was managing Fortune, and he was really entertaining. And then he had to get back his fucking wrinkled old ass back in the ring, and it's just like so pathetic and sad to watch. And now they're running Sting and Hogan out there at Bound for Glory. I don't. I mean, I guess I don't know. We'll see. I don't know how Hogan's even walking at this point.
I don't know if I'm going to watch that show, but I'm actually looking forward to, if I do see it, I'd rather see the Robert Roode Kurt Angle match.
Yes,
that seems like it's going to be very good.
Someone. I mean, now's the time to pull the trigger on Roode. You might as well give him the title.
Yeah, I've been a Roode fan for years now, even before Beer Money when he was. He kind of looked like Rick Rude. Yeah. It's pretty funny. He had the big robe and the puffy mullet. So I'm fine with it. He wins it. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting. Maybe that'll be the first TNA we really start talking about here when we get closer to Bound for Glory.
Right.
Okay, next news bit. Tell me, is this just poor advertising technique or a hint of things to come? The official website of the New Orleans Arena is advertising Edge for the next month's Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. Witness the superstars of Raw and SmackDown live under the same roof for a pay-per-view extravaganza live event featuring John Cena, Randy Orton, Alberto Del Rio, The Miz, Edge, Rey Mysterio, John Morrison, The Big Show, and many more.
Mm-hmm.
You think it's just generic advertising where they grabbed a bunch of names, or is there something to it?
Well, I mean, what's he gonna? Is he gonna cost Christian that? He's obviously can't wrestle, so I mean, I don't know. Is he gonna cost Christian? Is Christian gonna be in a match?
Well, maybe we should actually go over the story because you didn't read the spoilers yet.
No.
And anyone who does not want to be spoiled, actually, I don't even know if this stuff is on TV, but in case anyway, you might want to skip ahead a minute here. We're going to talk about SmackDown. Mm-hmm. Following tonight's SmackDown taping at the Air Canada Center in Toronto, Ontario, WWE held a ceremony honoring Edge. Seven-time women's champion Trish Stratus kicked it off. They brought him out. They had photographs of Edge's most memorable moments and a video montage with comments from a variety of wrestlers. Christian came out, said that he and Edge are closer than friends and they were like brothers. Edge's mom came out, and his trainer, Steve Hutchinson, and Sweet Daddy Siki. Rhino, Bret Hart, and the whole locker room came out to celebrate him as well. So, and they ended with a 5-second pose. So a nice little tribute in Toronto for Edge.
Excellent.
And he was on SmackDown as well in a couple segments backstage. So, he's lingering. I don't think he's involved. I think it's just a generic advertising thing.
Probably.
A bunch of known names.
Yeah, most likely.
All right, here's another big story. According to Brian Alvarez, WWE officials are reportedly trying very hard to get The Rock to wrestle at Survivor Series. The original idea was for him to appear and do an angle, but not wrestle until his match with John Cena at WrestleMania. But now they want him to wrestle in November. As noted before, there's also been discussion of doing a best-of-3 series. Whether or not The Rock should wrestle Survivor Series was a controversial topic within WWE this past week. Now, if they did a best-of-3, I don't think they'd start that as Survivor Series. I think it'd be WrestleMania and then next year SummerSlam and whatever else. But
yeah, no, that's what I've heard. That they would do WrestleMania be the first one, maybe an Extreme Rules would be number 2, and then finish it off at SummerSlam next year in LA. That's what I've heard. I've heard the rumor about the best-of-3 series too, and that's where I heard it. They wouldn't start it here and then finish it at WrestleMania. That would make no sense. You don't want to put them at TLC.
No.
You don't want to. You're gonna want Cena in the Rumble.
I wouldn't be shocked if Rock's in the Rumble, honestly.
I'd be great if he was in the Rumble. I wouldn't be surprised to see a bunch of guys in the Rumble. I wouldn't be surprised to see Steve in the Rumble.
Yeah, it'll be
40.
interesting.
You're gonna need 40 guys. Jack the thing up.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. And Rock, you can't have him touch Cena, right? You can't have them on separate Survivor Series teams or anything. How about the same team? I don't know. What can they do?
That'd be funny. Put them on the same team.
Yeah, I mean, you can't have them. You can't have them touch each other, right?
No. In fact, the rumor is a rumored match at Survivor Series is Team Triple H versus Team Punk, and I could see Triple H asking for both of them to be on his team at Survivor Series.
And how about Mick Foley as well?
It's entirely possible as well. It'd be a pretty damn good old school, half Attitude Era, half new era team. That might replace DX, Punk, and the Hardys as the greatest babyface team of all time. It's interesting.
Well, here's Mick Foley did speak as well about his WWE return. I'm almost sure I'll be working in some respect fairly soon. It's a really good company with a really large infrastructure that offers ways for guys like me to help out even when they're not on TV. There could be several roles. I have to do some thinking about how involved I want to get, how many days away I want to spend, and whether I want my involvement to be off-screen, but I'm excited to be working in the near future. Now, I heard on another podcast that there's rumors that he wants The Undertaker at WrestleMania.
Mick?
Yes.
Well, I don't know how good of a match it would be unless you make it ridiculously bloody, violent, and incredibly awesome.
I think it's too little too late, honestly.
I think so, too. I don't think it would look very good. I don't know why Mick would even bother, to be honest with you. It's just like Flair. Why do this to yourself anymore? Why bother? Just, you're not in the shape anymore. Just let it go. Just let it go. Just enjoy the twilight of your career. Make some easy money.
I want him to be on TV, maybe announcing or GM or something, but I don't want to see him injuring himself any further.
No, I don't either. His brain's already poached eggs. Let's not scramble them any more than they already are. I don't even bother. Just let it go. If Taker's going to wrestle one more match next April in Miami, you got to make it legit. And Mick, and I love Mick. We all do. And that's not a moneymaker to me anymore. You got to think money now. You got to really jack that show up. This year's WrestleMania was probably a legitimate disappointment in a lot of people's eyes. You can't have 2 disappointing WrestleManias in a row. You can't. You had the first WrestleMania, and it's not ironic. It's not coincidence that the first WrestleMania in 9 years without Shawn Michaels was a disappointment.
Yeah.
That's not a coincidence. And you really need to be very careful putting these matches together. Mick Taker doesn't bring the money. This isn't 1996. Doesn't bring the money anymore. I love you, Mick, but we're doing this for you.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, his no compete's coming up soon, so we'll see how he ends up. And now, speaking of disappointments, we once again return to the sad, pathetic world of Matthew Hardy.
Oh, God.
think that pretty much sums up the world's feelings on Matt Hardy at this point.
That probably is one of my favorite songs of all time.
Well, there you go.
Do you remember, on a side note, do you remember a channel in Rhode Island called The Box?
Yes.
I might have told the story to you, but I don't know if I told the Place to Be Nation. When I was in college, I had friends who went to PC, and I still got to drive you through the campus. And I'll show you where the house was. And I used to go visit, every few weeks to my friend's house that he lived in, and it was his birthday, the one weekend we visited, and he was bombed. We were all completely shit-faced, and put all the windows up and opened all the windows, and called the box and ordered two videos. We ordered a live version of Black Sabbath's Iron Man, and this. At 2:00 in the morning. So needless to say,
a young Matt Hardy was driving by and heard this and decided to pattern his wife. But here we go.
Yep.
As reported earlier, it's been confirmed that Matt Hardy was arrested on Monday, September 12th for a DWI at Raleigh-Durham International Airport. According to police report, Hardy was pulled over after police received at least one call about Hardy driving erratically. Hardy was asked to pull into the parking area, and he did after his vehicle swerved into the curb and back onto the road. Hardy reportedly told police he was there to pick up his girlfriend, Rebe Sky, who is, by the way, way too hot to be dealing with this fucking retarded dick.
Yeah, really.
According to the police report, Hardy denied drinking, but he had very slow, slurred speech. The officer asked him to step from the car, and the car started to roll forward because Hardy did not put it in park. The officer yelled at him to do so, and Hardy did. Hardy failed several field sobriety tests administered by both airport police and a North Carolina state trooper, who arrived approximately 3.5 hours later. Hardy did submit to 2 separate breathalyzers, but blew 0.00 both times. Due to the failing of the several field sobriety tests, Hardy was arrested and charged with DWI. He was processed, submitted a blood sample, released, and promised to appear at court November 30th. And of course, once again, for the first time in my life, I was framed. I'm truly appalled. This will not go down without a fight. I've got a bullseye on my head. Shut the fuck up.
Oh, my God. Enough is enough.
All right, that's enough. Enough from Matt Hardy again.
I think the line of that song that epitomizes him is, "I use public toilets and I piss on the seat."
Yeah, well, I wish I would have pissed on his fucking face. He's gonna be the Jim Duggan now when they debut on our pay-per-view reviews.
Oh God,
the Matt Hardy, the asshole song. That's what he is. He's a freaking asshole.
God,
I am so tired of that freaking loser.
Oh God. That's awesome.
All right, let's move along. Here's another SmackDown spoiler.
Mm-hmm.
So, just a fair warning.
Yep.
At tonight's tapings, this is of course from last night, the new Sin Cara, formerly Hunico, lost to Daniel Bryan by DQ and he wouldn't stop beating Bryan down in the corner. After the match, the original Sin Cara, formerly Mystico, made his return to WWE and confronted the fraud in the ring, and they had a stare down, and that was it. So, looks like the feud's underway.
All right. Well, let's hope they put on good matches.
Yeah, WrestleChat actually had a picture up, if you guys go to the site, of the two Sin Caras face-to-face.
We'll take a look as we speak.
So
is it the story here more in the original? There we go.
No, it's a little further back, I think.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, maybe that did have it.
Let's see. Again, folks, all of this great news that we're giving you, courtesy of our friends at WrestleChat.net. Please go there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Public vote 12. Tyler X. How far down does it go?
This would have been from last night, so it's a couple pages. But while you look for that,
okay.
As noted before, last night's WWE Raw Super Show did a 2.7 cable rating. In comparison, Week 1 of Monday Night Football did a 10.6. And the second game did an 8.2. So, seems like the football hit already affecting Raw down to a 2.7.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
Yeah, it sucks for them, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, and on top of the fact, it was also two games, too. And,
yeah, but you know what? The first game was pretty much a blowout by the time Raw started. I don't know. They should really... I mean, what can they do? They're going to blame football, but they got to look internally. They were putting up big ratings against football back in the Attitude Era. So, as you mentioned before, Jerry Lawler suffered a busted nose on Raw last night in a match where he teamed with Sheamus against Miguel Cotito-Tunga. That was a legit.
That was hard way. No, it definitely looked like it. Yeah. I mean, Jerry's not gonna bust himself open in a Raw tag match. So, yeah. No, the picture's not on that original Sin Cara status, so I'll have to keep looking. I'm
yeah,
curious.
It's somewhere in there. I know they tweeted it and I saw it. So,
Okay.
as noted earlier, Michelle McCool wrote on Twitter last night that Vicky Guerrero inspires her after teasing her return. Actually, yeah, Michelle did tease that. So. It looks like she may be coming back. And Vicky responded this afternoon, indicated she may also be taking time off. Michelle, you inspire me every day. My turn to take some time off. So I don't know if now she's just saying that, like, oh, I need a break, haha, kind of thing, or if she's legitimately looking to take some time off. I'm not sure. So be interesting to see what they do on Sunday with her.
Yeah, and I just found the picture of it's a wide. Of course, it's from somebody in the seats,
right? Yeah,
and you can tell the Sin Cara on the left is considerably bigger. Not considerably, but is bigger than the Sin Cara on.
So that'd be Hunico then.
Yeah, Hunico's on the left, and what's the other one?
Mystico.
Hunico on the left. Mystico is the smaller one. He's on the right. So that actually leads to good matches anyway.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I agree.
So.
We'll see.
Plenty
Obviously, they're not going to have it. Right. They'll probably build to something at Hell in a Cell between the two.
Yeah.
So, WWE has announced they're going to release their best pay-per-view matches of 2011 on December 27th. 3-disc DVD and 2 discs on Blu-ray. That's courtesy WWE DVD News, one of your favorite sites.
Yes, excellent site. Yes.
And also a DVD synopsis. Let me pull this up here for the Best of King of the Ring DVD.
Mm-hmm. I don't think they put the matches down yet, but
no, it's going to come out December 13th, hosted by Booker T. And it was actually because of a fan feedback on WWE.com. They did a survey, and this is why they're doing this one. So.
Right.
3 DVD set packed with more than 8 hours of matches, interviews, and moments.
Yes. That'll be pretty good. Looking forward to that. I'm sure they'll have every one of the... what would make this set perfectly good is if they had any televised matches from the house show ones in the 80s.
Yes,
that would be kind of neat.
Cool.
That'd be kind of neat. Of course, some of them were in your backyard there, the PCC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there were a few there. So
yeah. There was one in Foxborough. And then, of course, the first one in 1993. One more DVD note. They officially announced, I think I mentioned this on a previous cast.
Yes, yeah, Monday I think you did.
Yeah, they are going to have the first 4 matches have been announced for the 4-disc Stone Cold Steve Austin DVD on November 29th. I've already said them, but we'll put them together in one group, and that is Steve Austin versus Chris Adams, his trainer. From USWA, May 1990, which is an unbelievably nice nugget right there. And then 3 matches that are common on previous DVDs, but this will now have updated alternate commentary with Steve and JR. It is WrestleMania 13 match against Brett, his 14 match with Shawn, and his 17 match with Rock. So
there you have the news, and there you have our wrestling segment for the night.
Mm-hmm.
Hope you enjoyed.
Yes.
What we want to do quickly is just touch on baseball really fast, and then we're going to get to our NFL picks before wrapping up.
Yep.
Before we get to the pennant races, we need to talk about another arrest in the world of sports.
Yeah, this is about as bad as Matt Hardy.
Yeah. Another asshole.
Yeah, well, that might have to be might be our new weekly headline segment, Asshole of the Week.
Yes. Sorry, Manny and Matt Hardy are tied, and of course it's Manny Ramirez. Manny
used to be one of your favorites when he was playing.
He wasn't my favorite as a player, as a person. I just admired his talent. I thought he was a tremendous hitter.
Oh, he was a tremendous hitter, but instead of for those who don't know the background, instead of taking the 100-game suspension for screwing the pooch on the drug policy, he decided to retire because he's a cowardly piece of crap. And as we can see, he's a cowardly human being too. Busted for domestic battery, and I think he cannot. I think there's a restraining order or something where he can't be around his wife.
Yeah, they let him out on bail. He can't be. They actually played the 911 call on a couple of the radio stations this morning here in this area. Mm-hmm. It is what it is. Typical stuff. I'm sure he'll get off. I'm sure he will not be put in the clink where he probably belongs at this point. And he was joking coming out of the clubhouse. He was putting his arm around the reporters and laughing. And then he got in the car and they were sticking a mic in I don't know if it was his mother or some other woman's face. And he ripped the mic out of the reporter's hand. He's a fucking train wreck. He probably's not even aware. They were joking on the radio. He was probably sitting there watching SpongeBob eating cereal when the cops came after he beat the shit out of his wife.
Or watching tapes of like the 99 or whatever, the 04 World Series or something.
No, he probably doesn't even remember that he fucking played baseball, honestly.
What a mess. So unfortunate. A great player like that. As much as he was a pain in the ass, the guy put up some of the best stats of the last 15 years. And, once again, no one's going to care. Oh, well. It's unfortunate. But, yeah. I don't know who's worse, him or Matt Hardy.
Matt Hardy, to me, because at least Manny is confining it. I mean, okay, I shouldn't say that. He's beating his wife. But Matt Hardy's endangering the lives of many people out there driving around like a fucking drunken fool. So they're both equally pretty evil. But
yeah, exactly.
Equally asshole of the week here on the Place to Be Nation.
Yes.
Temporarily unseating Matt Rotella is the number one asshole.
Matt Rote apostrophe Ella.
Yes. A-S apostrophe S. That'd be if he was singing the song. A-S apostrophe S-H-O-L.
He'd probably put too many S's in it, knowing him.
All right. Let's hit the pennant races really quick. In the AL East, of course, the Yankees of New York. 4.5 game lead on the Red Sox. If they win tonight, they'll bump that up to 5 because the Red Sox lost again today to Tampa. Daniel Bard choked away another game for them.
Oh, no. Toronto they lost to today.
Oh, Toronto. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Tampa because they're equally as stupid and choking because they could have went into their 4-game set only down 3 games if they won tonight, but now they dropped their second in a row to Baltimore.
Oh, okay.
Inexcusable. They lost tonight. So now they head into Fenway tomorrow, though, for a 4-game series, and they will be 4 behind Boston in the loss column. So if they sweep, they'll be tied.
Right. Which probably isn't going to happen.
No, probably not. I think they have. If they would have won these past 2 nights and went in there 2 games back, they had a chance. But this is going to be pretty hard for them. But you know what? I hope they push them so Boston can't get their stuff lined up, their players lined up for the playoffs. As a Yankee fan,
right?
I hope it comes down to like maybe the last week or so. So
well, you guys play them again next week?
Yeah, but then the Yankees have Tampa 7 more times as well. So
yeah,
but Yankees are in good shape. If they win tonight, they're down 1-0 right now in the 5th. But if they win tonight, they'll be 5 up with about 15, I think, left to play. So.
This is gravy. You're going to take 2 out of 3 from the Mariners, and then you're going to head up to the Rogers Center this weekend to play the Blue Jays. So
yeah, so
nice. Get some more divisional wins.
Yeah, they got to figure out their rotation for the playoffs. But they're pretty much locked. They're at 99.9% in. So, and that goes as well for the AL Central. I believe Detroit actually clinched today. Jordan Duncan was popping a boner on Facebook about it. He's all into it. I'm sure he's imagining some of these games like he imagines wrestling matches. But the Tigers have won 12 in a row.
Yeah.
They completely blew away Cleveland, who went in the shitter after trading for Ubaldo Jimenez. And Chicago, who made a valiant effort at the end, but then they fell back apart. So.
They ran out of gas.
Yeah. So Detroit has clinched and are headed to the playoffs.
Yeah, I like the Tigers. Just like you made your prediction about Jacksonville firing or releasing David Garrard, I can dance around on Facebook probably in a couple months because I did say that Justin Verlander was going to win the Cy Young Award, and he's pretty much on his way to doing it.
Oh, so yeah. He won his 23rd game, right? I think yesterday.
Yeah.
So
yep, and he's won 12. He's won 11 straight starts. The guy's a machine.
Yeah, he definitely is.
CeCe will win 20, but he'll probably finish second in the voting.
Yeah, I mean, no one can argue that Verlander does not deserve that. So.
Right. And there's an outside chance, maybe he'd win the AL MVP. Maybe
there's a chance.
The rest of that Detroit staff is good, but it's not great.
And a lot of the other contenders are. I mean, Curtis Granderson had my vote for a while, but he's fallen off lately. And to me, I don't think he's probably in a position to win it right now.
He is tied for the AL lead in RBIs, though. Him and your boy there, Robbie Cano, don't you know, are tied with.
Yeah, Cano's making a late run, honestly. Yeah, but Miguel Cabrera, Jose Bautista, those guys all have the stats. It'll be interesting to see, but I'd probably go with Verlander at this point, honestly. I think he's the most valuable player. So.
Yeah, we'll see. And the other end in the West, I'll tell you something. The defending AL champions just continue to mow through. Texas was bombing the Indians today, and they keep winning. And,
3 up though. LA, hanging around. Honestly, as a Yankee fan, you'd think maybe, do you want to play Texas again? But I think I'd rather see them than LA because LA is the one team I really don't want in the playoffs because of their pitching.
Oh yeah, I agree. I don't think I think the Yankees just, even though you beat them in 2009, I think there's just general bugaboos about playing the Angels in any short series, and you're dealing with Irvin Santana and Jared Weaver and Dan Herron. I mean, that's a tough threesome. I mean, we talk about Philly, but they're not those aren't an unbeatable staff right there. And the Yankees had their struggles last weekend when they went out there. So yeah, that's a tough team, but. Texas, they got C.J. Wilson. The rest of that staff's okay. They do have the big bats. So I don't know. They may line up well again in a rematch with Texas. We'll see. Be interesting. But I think they're gonna hang on and win the division.
The Angels are hanging around for the wild card too, 4.5. But
yeah,
at this point, as much as the Red Sox Yankees series always kind of worry me and scare me, I kind of maybe want to see the Red Sox in the playoffs because they're really banged up and hurting. And honestly, I don't think they're going to get out of the first round at this point.
Well, the staff is. I mean, the one thing they had going for them that that could have helped them in the postseason was Josh Beckett, and now he's going to have a gimpy. What are they going to put another bloody sock on him for the postseason with his gimpy ankle? I mean,
well, another thing too, though, is that they're not going to have home field advantage now, and they are much better at home, as proven recently. As Dustin Pedroia was in an awful slump on the road, and then miraculously they return home and he starts hitting again. Yet no one talks about it, how he hits better at home all the time. But they're going to be on the road where they struggle more often than not. So, they're going to be away from those friendly confines, even though their record's pretty even. Home and road, but their hitters struggle a little bit more.
Yeah, no, in the postseason, and Adrian Gonzalez is having an awesome year. I thought he was going to win the AL MVP. There's a good chance he still may. He was my pick at the beginning of the year to win the AL MVP. There's a good chance he might. But we'll see. But I agree with you. I think the Red Sox are a lot more vulnerable than Yankee fans seem to think. Those West Coast teams, they drive the Yankees nuts. They definitely have more speed, and obviously if Russell Martin shoulder is a little tender over the next month or so, you don't want Posada behind the plate, and Montero can't throw from here to my TV. So
Martin will be back there though.
Yeah, but I mean I know he's hurt his shoulder the other night, so hopefully that that'll
he's been playing. He's fine.
Yeah, that'll heal fine. He'll still have his arm, so we'll see. It's a lot in the National League. The Phillies are just running away with it.
Well, they clinched. Yep.
Yeah, they clinched the East. The West is the
let's slow the roll a little bit on them. They only have 5 more wins than the Yankees, and they play in a much easier division. I was looking at something, Cliff Lee, I can't remember, or Halladay, something to do with, because they were comparing them and Verlander and Sabathia, like the quality of opponent as far as like hitters go, and it was like such a crazy disparity between Verlander and Sabathia versus Halladay and Lee, as far as the tough opponents that they face. So,
yeah, I agree. And
I don't think they're this mega team they're really very, very good. I wouldn't say they're unbeatable.
No, but I said in our preseason report, I'm talking about, Chase Utley's having concussion issues. Those don't just go away. It's not like a Band-Aid.
Right.
And their lineup, Hunter Pence is not a bad hitter. He's 5th in the league in hitting, but he's never had major playoff. I know he was with the Astros when he was younger, earlier in his career. I don't know if he was on the team when they went to the World Series in 2005, but that lineup is still a little cavernous at the back end. So good pitching will still beat them.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, I tell you something. One team that suddenly is, I don't know how far they'll go in the postseason. They don't really score a lot of runs, but I tell you, I don't know if I'd want to face Arizona in a short series. Your boy there, Ian Kennedy, obviously can't stand, playing in a major city. Another one of them.
I don't think it has much to do with that as it has to do with switching the leagues. But
yeah,
and Milwaukee obviously running away with the Central.
Yeah, I'm big on the Brewers. Well, you and I were both big on the Brewers. So
so I think as far as the wild card looks like, Atlanta pretty much has that in control. I think they have like a 5-game lead or a 4-game lead over the Cardinals at this point. So
yeah, the Cardinals have no pitching. So
I think Atlanta's probably going to move on. Now Milwaukee, to me, is a team I think that can beat Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point, it's going to determine. Right now, they're tied with Arizona to determine the better record. So obviously, the loser of that battle is going to face Philly because Atlanta can't face Philly, so they'll face the better of the two teams of Milwaukee and Arizona. So
yeah,
I think Milwaukee can defeat Philly though, because I think they can outslug them, and they got some pretty damn good pitching themselves. Now they are
and Greinke, yeah.
The key with Milwaukee, though, is they are way better at home than they are on the road.
Yes, absolutely.
So they are probably better off catching Philly in a longer series where they'll get the third game at home, then you hope to steal one there. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly. I mean, Zach Greinke is what? It's like 12-0 at home.
Yeah, something crazy.
Or something.
And
he's
they
like
got Markham and Gallardo.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it'll be interesting. I think Milwaukee's probably the team with the best shot in the NL. I don't know how Atlanta's played Philly this year. I don't know how they've matched up, but I would think Milwaukee's got the best chance to knock Philly off. and maybe finally head to a World Series for that starving franchise.
Exactly. Last made in 1982, lost a Game 7 in St. Louis to the Cardinals. So,
and you briefly mentioned the rise of the great new designated hitter for the New York Yankees. Do you think he's going to make the playoff roster?
He should. They could use the bat.
I wish they'd play that when he hits home runs at Yankee
Well,
Stadium.
he would have to come out with dark tights and an orange tank top, just like Steve did in ECW. So.
Or a tie-dye shirt. It'd be all roided up, like John Morocco.
Yeah, with hips that are about to snap off. Yeah.
So, of course, we're talking about Jesus Montero, who entered with a bang and has been playing very well over these last
hit the ball pretty well.
So I think he will be on the roster as the starting DH, honestly.
You know what? Another bat wouldn't hurt. You know? Maybe they'll expand the roster and put Romine on, too, you know?
Well, it depends how much. I mean, in the playoffs, you don't really need a backup catcher unless, if for an emergency, they'd have Posada and Montero if anything happened to Martin. But Martin's going to start every game, so it depends if they want to use a spot on Romine or not. Probably not. I don't think he'll be on the roster unless he does something crazy. I think he's going to be a good player going forward, but I don't think he'll take up a spot on the team.
Nah.
So, all right, let's wrap up there, and let's quickly get through NFL before we start going too long here. So what we'll do is, you can do like you did last week. Why don't you intro the game, and we'll talk about what happened last week for each team as we talk about this week.
Sure, absolutely. All right, why don't we'll do our picks real quick. Let's see. I think I went 8-8 in 16 games last week.
Actually, I can tell you right now. Hang on one sec. Go to our league. I was 8-8. And you were 8-8.
Yep. So 500 to start the year. Inauspicious.
Yeah, not good.
Not good. But
and here are two of the teams why right off the bat.
Oh yes. Well, let's get started. We begin at Ford Field in Detroit. We've got 10 1:00 games. Mm-hmm. Which you and I'll be watching most of the second halves of.
Yes.
And then of course
the good thing is I checked. The Jets are on locally, so we can watch the first half here before we head out.
Oh, good. Okay. 4 o'clocks, and then we have the NBC, and then one Monday night game now. All right, we begin at Ford Field in Detroit, where the Lions, coming off a win on the road over Tampa.
As predicted by your boy.
You got that one, yes. Close game.
Yeah,
Close
good game.
Detroit won by a touchdown. Taking on a team that, boy, do they lay a god-awful stink bomb, the Kansas City Chiefs, who got lathered at home by Ryan Fitzpatrick. And the Buffalo Bills.
We talked about the Chiefs. Much tougher schedule this year. They were going to be a letdown. I can't believe that, we both talked about maybe taking Buffalo last week.
Yeah.
We were a little scared because in Kansas City, we're thinking, KC at home. But apparently I was listening, I don't know if it was Simmons that was talking about it or Mike Lombardi was saying how Kansas City, I guess, didn't really do much of the preseason or off-season camps once they were able to start practicing. I guess they were kind of arrogant about the whole thing, and I don't know. So, Eric Berry's out for the year. Another blow.
Yeah, that's big.
Matt Castle shaking off the injured ribs. So, I can't see Kansas City. I think Detroit's hot. Their offense looked really good.
Yes.
And as good as Jamal Charles is going to be, Detroit's running defense is very good. As we saw, they stifled LeGarrette Blount down in Tampa Bay. So, I like Detroit here to keep on rolling.
Yeah, I do as well. I like the Lions in their home opener at the home of WrestleMania 23, Ford Field.
Jordan Duncan and the boys will be going wild.
Yes. Next, speaking of the aforementioned Bills, we head to Ralph Wilson Stadium, which is apparently from a few people I've talked to, one of the best tailgating stadiums in the NFL, as where the Bills will host another team coming off a nice win on Week 1, the Oakland Raiders.
Now they are 7-0 in their last 7 games in that division.
Yeah, but now they are out of the division where they couldn't beat anybody. I'm taking the Bills at home here. I like Buffalo in this home opener. If the crowd's going to get extra excited, I think Fitzpatrick will enjoy kind of shredding that pass defense a little bit.
It worries me.
McFadden may have a good game, but I'm going to take Buffalo in a close one late. I think they'll win by a field goal.
It worries me a little that they're going to have a letdown after that domination. Buffalo really go 2-0? I mean, I can't see Oakland going into Buffalo and running on them like they did in Denver, who has a very porous defense.
Yeah.
Plus, Oakland seems to get up for those games a little bit more, so Jason Cam on the road. Yeah, I got to go Buffalo. I can't believe it. We're going to have them at 2-0, but that's it. They're going to do it.
Well, they lucked out. They'll get the luck of the draw. Trust me, they'll start to lean on them when they play you guys. Trust me, remember what division they're in and who they have to play twice each.
Yeah,
so.
But good for Buffalo. Let them start 2-0. Get some fan base going. And Ryan Fitzpatrick, good quarterback.
And I didn't realize that they got rid of their red helmets and went back to the old school white Joe Ferguson, Joe Cribbs of the early 80s Bills helmet, which I think is very
they went
cool.
back to the classic helmets.
Yes, very happy about that. Next up, we head to Mall of America Field, otherwise formerly known as the Metrodome in Minneapolis, where the Vikings have their home opener, taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I like the Bucs in this one. I'm still not totally sold on McNabb and Brad Childress' offense. I still think they're going to have some time to work it out. And like you said it yourself. I had Tampa Bay winning a lot of games, and they got to find them somewhere. I think this is one they can win. I like the Bucs on the road.
I'm with you with Tampa here. A lot of times you get these desperate teams. I think it was Lombardi talking about this last year. When you try to look at these picks in these games, you got to really think who the desperate team is. Are teams really going to go 0-3, 0-4, even though it looks like a mismatch? This could be a trap game for Tampa. Raheem Morris, though, very good coach. I can't see him having them let another letdown after that tough loss against Detroit. Donovan McNabb threw for 39 yards against San Diego. I know Tampa's a different defense than San Diego, but still, 39 yards, atrocious.
Yeah.
I like Tampa here, too. If they don't win this, they're in some... I mean, they got lucky because the rest of the division lost, so they didn't lose any ground. And we'll talk about this for all the NFC South teams.
Right.
So this is kind of a fresh start for them. But if they lose this, they could be in some trouble.
Yeah, I think so too. But I like Tampa on the road, as do you. So next up, we go to the Superdome in New Orleans, where the Saints, coming off that tough Thursday night loss to the defending world champion Packers, host the Chicago Bears, who had a surprisingly good home opener against the Falcons, but I don't see it 2 weeks in a row. The Saints played very well against Green Bay.
If there's anyone but Green Bay, they win that game.
Yeah, and I think they'll win here. They're not going to lose their home opener. I think this is a must-win for the Saints.
I mean, Chicago shocked the hell out of me.
Yeah, me too. We both have the Falcons going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of rethinking that now. After looking at that, they might be starting 0-2 when we get to them later.
Well, we'll see. But I like the Saints at home here. I can't see them losing at home in their home opener.
No, I'll take the Saints. Like I said last week, I never count out Drew Brees when I had them still getting the wild card. I don't count out Peyton. Good veteran team. Veteran teams like that bounce back. Chicago, probably still a little high coming off of that win. Comes in and takes a tough loss in the Dome.
Yes, yeah. So we both take the Saints there. Next, we go to LP Field in, what is it, Nashville? I always get this confused. Is it Nashville or Memphis?
Yeah, Nashville.
It is Nashville. I can't ever remember. In Nashville, where the Titans host a game, and I pushed this hard last week.
Yeah, I'll give you credit. I did not see this one coming.
Your boy got that one. The Baltimore Ravens, who schooled the Pittsburgh Steelers at home. I like them in this game. I think the Ravens start 2-0. They beat the Titans on the road.
This, to me, has potential trap game written all over it. Baltimore coming off the high, off of that win, into Tennessee. Tennessee, tough loss against Jacksonville. I don't have the balls to do it, though. Baltimore looks so freaking good. So I'm going to take Baltimore. But this is kind of the red flag. Yeah, don't be surprised if Tennessee's a little friskier here than you may expect.
Yeah, we'll see. Chris Johnson could have a good game. I don't know. Who's the quarterback? Is Locker playing?
No, it's Hasselbeck.
It is Hasselbeck. That's right. It is Hasselbeck. I don't know. I mean,
no, Baltimore's just way more talented. Chris Johnson looked awful last week.
Yeah, and Ray Rice is an animal.
Yeah, so I think they win, but I'm just saying, coming off a win like that sometimes, going on the road against a weaker opponent can often be a trap game.
Yeah, we'll see. It could be interesting. We move on to Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis.
Ugh.
God, I would not want to be a Colt. You think like I said, you think my life was tough this week? Some of these other teams, I wouldn't want to be them.
They may be the worst team in the league this year.
I mean, that is awful. And that's not Peyton Manning. I'm sorry. The Houston Texans just absolutely obliterated their defense.
I didn't.
That's not Peyton Manning's fault.
Even with Peyton Manning, I didn't think they were going to have a great year. I just thought they had too many holes. But the difference with Peyton Manning is the difference from 10 wins to 2. I'm not saying they were going to win 15 games, but losing Manning, their defense is atrocious.
Yeah, it is. And this week
Kerry Collins, I don't think is going to be the answer there.
No.
To me, Indy's going to be the team that starts like 0-7 and then wins like 4 late. Once they finally, Kerry Collins kind of gets things going and they get their shit together and they end up finishing, 4-12 or something. But
exactly. They host the Cleveland Browns, coming off a kind of a disappointing home loss to start the year to the Bengals.
And they're the team that was getting, everyone thought maybe Detroit was the team that was getting too much buzz. I think Cleveland was getting a lot of buzz.
I gave them a lot of buzz too, and that was not a fun loss. But I mean, the Bengals took a hit, and we'll talk more about them in a little bit.
Yeah, but you can't lose at home to Cincinnati's backup quarterback.
No, I agree. You can't. But I think, believe it or not, the Browns will go in Indianapolis, and I think they'll beat the Colts.
If they don't, they're done. I'm going to stick with Cleveland one more week. If they lose to the Kerry Collins-led Colts, I don't know. They're in trouble.
Nah. Next up, we move to MetLife Stadium, a.k.a. the Snoopy Bowl, in the Swamp, as the JETS Jets look to go 2-0 as they host a team that you guys kind of laid a stink bomb on a couple years ago, and that was the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, much different team this time.
I don't believe you'll do it this week. You guys, there are some, there were some holes exposed. The running game didn't look that great. I mean, LaDainian ripped off a couple of long runs. Sean Green looked okay. Sanchez threw some really nice throws, but he threw a pick, and the offensive line was a little porous at times, but I think they'll right the ship. They'll fix a lot of those mistakes or a lot of those issues throughout the week, and I think they'll have no problem beating Jacksonville this week.
That is my lock of the week, obviously. I think the Jets will win quite easily. Jacksonville played hard. I'll give them this for Jack Del Rio and Luke McCown. They played hard. MJD looked good. He might get his yards this week, but Rex Ryan's defenses don't really ever play 2 really bad games in a row.
Right.
And they're going to get that straight out. Rex Ryan, of course, to motivate them, did not give the defense players any game balls. He gave it all to the offense to really sting them. So,
yeah.
Darrell Reeves obviously played his ass off, him and Des Bryant battling throughout that game.
Yes.
It was a fun game, a great game, a great win for the Jets. I mean, really, to pull that out, that was a huge win for them. So,
I agree. Yeah, absolutely. We've kind of made it easy on you in the last 7 minutes, but
to me, the play of that game, we talked about this, was Jim Leonard busting his ass and getting down the field and knocking Jason Witten out of bounds.
Yes.
Because then that led to the Romo fumble. Obviously, if he scores that touchdown, they go up 14 again, and you might say that's all she wrote at that point.
Yeah.
So.
But Romo's a buffoon, but we'll get to that. We'll get to them in a bit. My lock of the week is this next game. We go to Heinz Field in Pittsburgh, where the Steelers have their home opener against the Seahawks. I'm sorry. As much as I dislike the Steelers immensely, I cannot see them playing 2 crappy games in a row. Not at home.
No, this is going to be...
They have to win this game.
Yeah, they're going to demolish Seattle.
They have to.
Seattle looked awful again, and that's against a weak San Fran team. They couldn't get anything done, so... Yeah. I do not see them coming into Pittsburgh. If it was in Seattle, you say, maybe, but not coming into Pittsburgh. No way.
No. If the Steelers lose this game at home, then you got to question, what kind of motivator, Tomlin really is, because this is not good. This isn't like the Colts where you have major injuries. You've got Ben, who actually physically looks better. He doesn't have that fraternity beer gut anymore. He's looking pretty svelte, and
I think a big part of it was this Baltimore got out so quick out of the gate, and before they knew it, Pittsburgh was just buried.
Exactly. This is my lock of the week. The Steelers have to blow Seattle out in this game, and I think they will. And a couple more 1 o'clock games. We move on to FedEx Field in Washington, where the surprising Redskins, coming off a win over the Giants, will host the Arizona Cardinals, who dealt with the Cam Newton coming out party but held off the win. This is a tough one. This is a very, very tough game. You know what? I'm going to stick it out there. I'm taking the Cardinals on the road. I think Washington looked fine, but the Giants, don't have that swagger right now. They're injured. They made some mistakes. Arizona's got a much more streamlined offense. I like the Cardinals on the road in this one. I got a lot of road teams this week. I like the Cardinals here.
All right, I'm taking Washington at home. I think they have a lot of pride coming off that Giants win. I think they're going to stay hot. Arizona struggled to stop Cam Newton. I think Rex Grossman's going to have another good week. Arizona flying east, the long plane trip across. Not always the best road team, especially like cross division like this. So I think Washington surprisingly goes to 2-0 and starts to get a little bit of buzz before shit in the bed middle of the season.
I agree. In our final 1 o'clock game on Sunday, we go to Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, where Cam Newton's home opener as the Panthers host the defending world champion Green Bay Packers. And I love you, Cam. You played a great game last week, but reality is going to slap you in the face on Sunday. I think the Packers win. I think Cam will struggle. There'll be no 400-yard games on this day. I think the Packers win easily.
Yes, I agree. Carolina, as we talked about as well, remember we discussed how they could have been a possible upset pick going into Arizona, and they almost pulled it off. They looked good. They're going to be frisky this year. They're going to be good. They're going to battle, and they'll be in games. They're not going to win a lot of games, but they'll be there. They'll slowly start to come around, and Cam Newton's going to prove that he can get it done in the pros, I think. So, Green Bay, though, obviously.
Yes. All right, we move on to the 4 o'clock games. There's 4 of them, and we begin at Candlestick Park in San Francisco, where the 49ers, 2 Ted Ginn returns for touchdowns last week in a win over Seattle. They will host the America's team, the Dallas Cowboys, who, again, top to bottom, I was very, very happy with their performance. And I know this may sound strange to say, but I'm happy they even had a lead to blow, much less blow the game anyway. The offense overall really didn't play bad. Romo did get his throws off, but as usual, when the chips are on the table, he tries to be a superhero instead of doing the right thing, and he screwed the pooch. Fall. All right, stop trying to get extra yards. It was only, 2nd and goal? Just fall. God's sakes. He's such a moron sometimes. I mean, just fall. God. And the pick, I half blame him and I half blame Jason Garrett. Des Bryant had rubber band hamstrings for the last 2.5 quarters of that game. He had no business being on the field.
Well, here's the thing, though. There was an interesting article on ESPN about how the Jets designed that specific defense to bait Romo into throwing over there. They faked blitz, and they made it look like Revis was coming in on the blitz, so he thought he was going to have Bryant open on the curl. But they dropped all back, and because the safety was back there, Revis was able to jump to the route and pick the ball off. So
exactly. In fact, Ball tried to do the same thing on the next drive. He jumped the route and almost got a pick off of Sanchez on the next drive with nobody behind him. And that's a very scary thing to do when you're a corner, to attempt to do that. But he didn't have to jump the route because Romo threw right at him. And then Nick Folk kicked me right in the nuts with a 50-yard field goal.
That was a bomb.
Yeah, he knocked the shit out of that ball. I totally agree. But overall, I can't be upset. Rob Ryan figured out how to kind of tinker with the defense and find the talent. I love the kid Lee. He's a beast. I think he's going to have a great year. They will rebound nicely, and they will beat the Niners on Sunday.
Yes, the big fat sloppy pig in his defense will roll into Niners. I mean, the only reason they even beat Seattle was because they got the 2 Ginn returns. So
yeah,
I don't see Dallas shit in the bed. Like I said, I think they're going to have a good year, Dallas, and it starts here. They shake off that opening loss. That really doesn't hurt them too bad. A road loss against out of conference team. So
yeah. And incidentally, speaking of fat guys, the one thing about the brothers, at least your coach is fat all over. Rob has like a thin face, thin arms, and then he has this weird
his gut is ridiculous.
Bubble. Yeah, it's very weird looking. But the rest of him, at least Rex is fat all over, and he's like a nice, put together big dude. Whereas Rob looks like he's having sextuplets. Yes. I mean, it's just very strange. But you know what? The guy can make a defense, and it'll happen on Sunday against the Niners. We next go to Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, where the Matt Hardy of Justin's NFL teams, the New England Patriots, will have their home opener against the San Diego Chargers. And this is a great game. This is probably the game of the week in terms of even matchups. It's going to come down to the end. I don't think they'll. And you know what? The Patriot defense, they gave up. Chad Henne threw for like 3 something.
Yes, over 400 yards. A lot of people aren't talking about that.
No, they're not talking about that.
And not that much of it was in garbage time. And honestly, if there was a more competent quarterback, a couple of those goal line drives that ended in field goals and one that went 4 and out, those could be touchdowns and that could be a closer game.
Yeah.
So
this is
I'm not ready to crown the Patriots yet.
No, I think they're going to win this game. I think it's going to be high scoring. I think you'll see more. I think you may see more deficiencies in the Pats defense before they start to. I mean, they'll probably level out eventually.
Wow.
But this is going to be a shootout. I think Phillip Rivers will give the Chargers a chance late. But I think the Pats win.
The problem is San Diego usually shits themselves in New England, so they play them tough in San Diego. But when they come here, they usually don't do too well. So I'm going to take New England here. I think Brady stays hot. Of course, he had the ridiculous over 500 yards against that shit Miami defense. And I don't want to ever hear Vontae Davis say that they have the best corners in the league again, giving up fucking 500 yards.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
I let my brother-in-law know that tonight. I'm tired of him, this stupid team.
Speaking of Vontae Davis, we move on to Sun Life Stadium in Miami, where the Dolphins host the Houston Texans. Oh, God. I am indeed taking, because, I do have this team winning the division and making the playoffs, and As much as I hate to see Tony Sperano go 0-2, he will. I like Houston on the road.
All right, of course, Tony Sperano, the man wearing sunglasses, and I know he's got the eye condition, but
no, he does.
This is my upset pick of the week. I'm taking Miami. I think they're going to view this. I think they see themselves as a playoff contending team, and I think this is the game they see as a must-win. We talked about it earlier, the Mike Lombardi theory. We got to look at the team that really needs the win. Houston, they can afford this loss probably due to the strength of their division. I think they're going to be flying high off that Indy win. They're going to come in here a little arrogant, and I think Miami kind of sacks them in the mouth. It wins one of those classic Miami 15-12 games or something like that you just don't see coming. So This is my upset pick of the week. I am taking Corey Hart and his Miami Dolphins.
I'm going to take the Texans just because I put so much stake in them like I did in the Bucks. I don't want to see my man Tony. I love the guy. I know him well. I know his wife. Very nice people. But I think Houston right now is not looking bad, and I think they're going to win. I like the Texans. All right, we now move on to the final late game of the day at Sports Authority Field at Mile High. I didn't realize Invesco dropped their sponsorship.
I would too.
Yeah. Well, here's my upset special of the week because I'm thoroughly fed up. I'm actually angry. I put so much stock in the Broncos to win the West, and then they lose a game that they really should have won. They really should have won. So just out of spite, my upset pick of the week is I think Cincinnati goes into Denver and beats the Broncos.
I am giving the PTB Nation a J-Ross special. 2 upset specials this week.
Wow.
I'm taking the Bengals as well. I'll tell you, Bruce Gradkowski looks pretty damn good, actually.
And Andy Dalton may still play.
Yes. So A.J. Green had a good game. Cedric Benson had a good game. Cincy's D, after looking at Denver's D just get destroyed by Oakland.
Yeah.
At home, I don't think they're that strong mentally of a team. I think there's already problems between Tebow and Orton starting to seep through. The crowd's chanting for Tebow on Monday night. I think John Fox has a lot of work to do in that team. No-Show Moreno may be out this week. Elvis Dumerville's hurt. So I think Cincy comes in and goes to 2-0.
Yeah, and Kyle Orton threw for 300 yards. Yeah. It's not like he even played a lousy game, you know? But they should have won that game against the Raiders at home. No excuse for that. I'm taking Cincinnati. The NBC primetime game takes us to the Georgia Dome in Atlanta. Hot Atlanta, which needs to be hot because it's cold Atlanta right now. The Falcons laid a bomb against the Bears. At home against the nightmare team. I will not call them the dream team. They could suck a duck before I call them that. The Philadelphia Eagles coming off a win over the Rams. The Falcons can't afford to start 0-2, and they're not. This is going to be a close game. I think Matt Ryan rights the ship. I think in overtime, Falcons win by a field goal. They have to.
I know they were a Super Bowl pick, and I know they have to win. I don't like how they looked, though. I think they looked awful. Michael Turner looked like he was running like an old man. Matt Ryan looked completely lost. Philly didn't even play their best and still spanked our upstart Rams.
Yeah.
The defense, I think, is just going to sit back and wait for Ryan to make that mistake. LaShawn McCoy looked like Eric Dickerson out there running around. I like Philly to go into Atlanta and knock Atlanta 0-2, and I don't think it hurts us too much, though, because there's still only a game out, and they haven't played a division game yet. So
yeah, and everybody lost in that division last week.
So even if New Orleans and Tampa win like we say they're going to, Atlanta's still only one game back and a lot of time to make that up. So.
Okay. All right. Well, I think the Falcon defense will make things miserable for Vic. The Eagle offensive line still hasn't proven anything to me that they can stop anybody. I mean, Vic still runs around like a chicken with his head cut off. He got a couple passes off, and LaShawn McCoy didn't hurt matters either. So, but I think the Falcons win in overtime. And this might be one of the worst Monday night games I think I've ever seen in my life. Back to the Snoopy Bowl on Monday night. So it looks like the Meadowlands crew will have to work overtime to scrape the green and paint the blue as the Big Blue Wrecking Crew, Andy Flanagan's New York Giants, have their home opener against the now beat-up St. Louis Rams. No Amendola, no Davis, no Jackson, and a gimpy right finger of Sam Bradford.
Oh, we need to break in. Mr. Swishalicious himself has this tied the game in the seventh inning.
Okay. Well, Mrs. G will be very happy about that because that's her favorite Yankee. So, I don't know. If they were healthy, I was going to take the Rams, but how do you – no Steven Jackson, no Danny Amendola, and you're not totally sure how Bradford's going to throw. I'm going to take the Giants at home. At least Eli's healthy, even though they didn't play that great against the Redskins. Hakeem Nicks says he's going to play. The defense looked okay, even with the injuries. No Tuck. I think another team that if they're going to make a playoff run, I think they can't start 0-2. So I'm going to take the Giants at home.
Well, I don't think the Giants are making a playoff run. I think they're done, honestly. They looked awful going into Washington and shit in the bed like that. I know Nick says he's going to play, but we'll see. What's his injury anyway? Was it hamstring?
Nick's ankle.
Ankle. All right. Well, he's a receiver predicated.
Calf or hammy, one of those.
All right. Well, it's a leg injury, and he's a receiver predicated on running. So to me, I'll believe it when I see it. Okay. Sam Bradford, I think they're going to atone. They hung with Philly, and Philly's a superior team to the Giants. So I think St. Louis goes in there, and Spagnuolo comes home, and they beat the Giants. I think the Giants are in for a long year, and I think this is finally it for Tom Coughlin.
Well, Dr. G, our close Giant fan as well, feels the same way. So I don't know what I don't know. Did you talk to our man Andy Flanagan? How do you feel after Sunday?
No, I didn't want to bring it up. We'll talk to him this weekend. We're going to spend plenty of time with Mr. Flanagan. So,
yeah, well, that's true too. So
we'll catch up.
I'm sure he'll have his things to say. So there is our week 2 picks. Put yours up if you'd like on our Facebook page, and we'll give you the results next week.
And also get involved in the Place to Be message board Pick'em League as well.
Yes. Bigelow34.proboards.com. You can still join. Our man D-Ray has come up with some ingenious ways to keep you in the race if you miss a week.
Yes.
So don't worry about it. If you missed week 1, I got both extra points because he's doing a game of the week. If you pick the GAT, you get 2 points, and if you pick the special stipulation person, this past week it was guy that throws the most passing yards. So if you did
this week is rushing yards.
Rushing yards. If you picked Tom Brady this past week, which you and I both did, I think.
Mm-hmm.
We both get extra points. So even though we both went 8-8, we both got 10 points. So, no, wait, you picked the Steelers, right?
No, I picked the Steelers. So
okay, so you only got 9 points. All right, I had 10 points. But somebody, who was it? Was our man D'Amato? Didn't he have 15?
Yeah,
somebody
he went crazy.
Week. Yeah, he was nuts.
So definitely join up there. And before we wrap up, I'm going to give Scott, I'll give him 2 minutes to rant.
Oh, God. Where do I begin? How could any other program, 2 games, over 1,000 yards of offense, 9 turnovers, 9, 7 of them inside your opponent's 10-yard line, and 2 losses? I don't think I've ever hated being a Notre Dame football fan more than Saturday night after that 35-31 loss to Michigan. A game that Michigan, I don't care how good Denard Robinson is, they had no business winning. No business at all winning that football game. I don't care what Brady Hoke says. I don't care what Denard Robinson says. They had no business winning that game Saturday night if Notre Dame could just get their heads out of their asses and hold on to the goddamn ball. Period. I don't know what more you can do. Do they just want to go to the Ivy League and play with Brown and Penn?
Hey, I think Brown would beat them right now. Don't talk shit on Brown.
Well, or Yale for that matter, my own Ivy League school. It's ridiculous. All of this talent. And they're moving the ball up and down the field. I mean, they lost the lead and then went right back down and Reese threw a touchdown pass and then they went right back down the other way. They left that guy open all by himself.
And now they're already talking about wanting to get rid of Brian Kelly up there, right?
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't go that far, but
that's the stuff I heard. A lot of the fan base. And
what do you do?
You can't start over again. I mean,
I think they just need to right the ship. They're home this week to play Michigan State. They got to win. Pure and simple. They got to win. There's no excuses. No excuses. It's kind of sad that the football team that didn't let me down this week was my beloved University of New Haven Chargers, who are now 2-0 on the season.
How did Assumption do?
They won in overtime.
Okay, so they beat
won in overtime. So they're 1-1.
Seton Ball or whatever it is.
Seton Ball, Seton Hill. They beat them 28-21 in overtime.
All right, good.
Chargers laid a big beat down on the St. Augustine's College, 50-14, the final score. And I'm going to see who your Greyhound, because of course. Oh, by the way, as everyone knows, I do owe Mr. Rozzero lunch, so I will be getting you Subway on Saturday for your Jets. Although we could go double or nothing if you'd like, or we might just do another bet. Who knows? Because of course next Saturday it will be Chargers and Greyhounds in Worcester.
Pretty funny that Brian Kelly's old team is doing better than his new team.
Yeah, that's true too. Yes, that is true.
Assumption alumni.
All right, so before we go, let me double check quickly for you and see who your beloved Greyhounds play this week. They are 1-1. Yes, they beat Seton Hill 28-21 in overtime. So they are 1-1 on the season. Men's sports, football. Hopefully the weather will be nicer Saturday night than when you and I had to deal with.
Yes.
And plus you do have a great quarterback name. Your quarterback, he's a freshman. His name is Kevin Bumpus.
Nice. Is that the dog's name in Christmas Story?
Yeah, that's the Bumpuses. Yeah.
No, not the dog, the family.
Yes, exactly. You were down 14-0 and came back to win 28-21. So let's see. You are in Springfield this week to take on AIC.
Okay. Classic Assumption rival there. So
yes. So that's, and then of course next week my Chargers head to Worcester. So we'll talk more about that game next week.
All right. So
I think we're done. I think we finally got through everything.
There you go. So if we got nothing else to say, I guess we'll wrap up. We'll be back next week on Monday night. We'll be talking Royal Rumble 1993 as we move along in the Vintage Vault catalog. And then next week, sometime later in the week, we'll be back with our headline, same thing we just did tonight, NFL wrap-up and preview, and hopefully making fun of Notre Dame some more. And we'll also run down our highlights from this past weekend. We'll talk Night of Champions. We'll talk MWF 10. If you want details on that, please contact us directly on the Facebook page or Place to Be message board at Bigelow34proboards.com. Follow us on Twitter, Place to Be Podcast, the number 2. Visit WrestleChat, History of WWE, all our good friends. And as always, thank you for listening. Have a good weekend. We'll talk to you next week.
Leave the line on for me Friday.
It's always the same, it's just a shame.